motivated by partisan considerations as it works to provide assistance to the people worst affected by Hurricane Melissa. The opposition PNP claims the relief effort, particularly in western parishes, is slow, inadequate, and influenced by political motive. They also allege that aid distribution is being directed by government ministers and political operatives instead of elected opposition representatives. The Prime Minister is declaring war on what he has framed as the coordinated dissemination of lies.
It is not just managing the disaster, it is managing the false information. And we have to go to war with that. Too much false information, distracting the people when we need to have a positive mindset for recovery. And it is one thing that you will see about me. Me not afraid of nobody. All who want talk, make me one. Me we go with you toe to toe. Every nonsense you talk, I will respond to it. And as you would have seen with the government, man come out with foolishness, we respond, not go so. And as many memes as they can make, I can make it too. So it's going to be war. Because we cannot allow people who peddle nonsense, the people who tell lies, we cannot allow them to win. So we will have it out.
Dr. Holness says he's disgusted by attempts to politicize the distribution of relief packages.
We are going to transition from giving out of packages because it's becoming highly political. Who never get, and if you go to a man's place and then him say, oh, you never call me to go give package with you. You know, the funny thing is this, the amount of JLP people who call me to say PNP MPs get package and don't come to them. And I said, look, I don't want a political issue. Don't bother make no noise over that. It is disgusting that persons would want to make political issues over the distribution of aid. We have to bring an end to it then, because some people can't help themselves. They can't resist it. And so we are going to shift from the distribution of food packages to giving persons coupons or cards that they can go and buy the stuff that they need.
The Holness administration has been criticized for the method it's using to distribute several hundred electric generators to residents in communities who've been without power since the hurricane. The Prime Minister says the devices have to be strategically deployed.
You can't share up 600 generators for 150,000 people or 42,000 homes. It is not possible. So what do you do with the generator? First thing you do is you want to give it to areas where its use will be multiplied. Police stations that now don't have generators, you give them generators. Now, what some people would have done if they were the government is to just take it and give it to them friend and give it to them company and nobody would benefit. That is what they're trying to do, you know. That is why they are saying that nonsense, because that is, they believe that they would get political power by saying, I would give it to my friend and company. And there are those who are not thinking who would follow it. My government doesn't do that.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
All right. So Scratchy?
Yes, neighbor.
Scratchy, here you have the Prime Minister of Jamaica having to, in broken language, declare war. What do you make of that?
What do I make of the total statement?
On misinformation. On misinformation.
Neighbor, when you look at what is going on, neighbor, in terms of the disaster that Jamaica is facing, neighbor, we can respond to this disaster, neighbor, financially and to whatever aid that these persons might need, neighbor. The biggest threat, neighbor, it is such a big issue, neighbor, when a country like Jamaica, neighbor, the biggest threat or recovery in this disaster, neighbor, is not the government ability, neighbor, to provide whatever is needed, neighbor. It's the misinformation. So when
hold on. So you're saying that the government has the ability to respond?
Definitely, neighbor.
In other words, the government is in a position to fund, finance, and even in the first instance, to provide relief for the people.
I'm definitely, neighbor. The government is in a short-term, neighbor, and a medium-term range, neighbor. We are even going long-term over budget cycles, neighbor. There are things that need. These persons will not suffer, neighbor. The government have the ability, neighbor, over a period of time, neighbor, to take care of the needs of these persons in the disaster area. And it is just so shocking, neighbor, at this time in a country like Jamaica, neighbor, where that would have normally been the biggest problem, neighbor, government ability to provide for these people. This time it is not. is the misinformation is the biggest problem right now, neighbor, to the hindrance and the upliftment and the movement of these people like back to normal.
Yes. No, Scratchy. It is clear though. But do you support the Prime Minister taking the lead in this struggle, this fight against misinformation? Do you think the Prime Minister should be the one on the front line pushing back?
I mean, neighbor, when you look at it, persons looking out and looking in might look at it and say it doesn't look good for the Prime Minister to be the one on the front line. But if you look at it in context, persons who are inside of it, who understand and see what they're going. And neighbor, when you look at the type of things that have been thrown at this Prime Minister, neighbor, and his government, neighbor, and most of most of the attack that his government is getting is a result of him. So he feels that, neighbor, persons are directly targeting his government through him. Neighbor, when you look at the 2016 from the Prime Minister coming up, a 2020 campaign, neighbor, he was marred and tarnished about his house, neighbor, or we get his house, neighbor. Then he move on from that, neighbor. And when my next government again who come now and tarnish him to a whole heap of other means, it's calling him thief, the Integrity Commission. Neighbor, this is a Prime Minister, neighbor, who has been through a lot. And I know, neighbor, at some point in time, neighbor, it would have been a point where it had to stop. And it's just so shocking, neighbor, that Jamaica is a culture and a system, neighbor, where this is how Jamaica get gain Jamaican attention, neighbor. These broken language that they talk about is how you gain them attention, neighbor. They standard talking, don't work with these type of people. And I think I sanction it, neighbor. And I am glad the Prime Minister came out and make it clear in the same fashion that he did, neighbor. And let persons know that he have the ability to attack and do other things to neighbor. And I often said, neighbor.
Does it not, though, Scratchy, speak to a challenge in the party where the Prime Minister has to be leading this fight? Is that not, does that not suggest that other members of the team are unable to do it? What's happening?
Yes, neighbor. Yes, it will look that way, neighbor, to know that yes, it should take the Prime Minister to have to come out and do this, neighbor. But again, neighbor, if you look at the context, we have seen other persons from the Prime Minister, from the team, from the Jamaica Labour Party. We have seen other persons, other ministers who come out in defense of the Prime Minister. We see even Mr. Warmington who came out strong for him. We see Dariva. We see a lot of persons who came out strong for him, neighbor. But despite all they might come out, neighbor, the attack wasn't directed at them, neighbor. So once that attack is directly at you, you are the persons who these persons want to see respond, despite who you might send out to come in your defense, neighbor. It's not gonna mean anything. They want to directly hear from you. And again, I say I'm happy that the Prime Minister answered, and I'm glad the way that he answered as well. I sanction it.
You do. Okay. Does you don't think though, Scratchy, that Prime Minister Holness cannot be saddled with the responsibility to be responding? There has to be a organized, coordinated effort by the Jamaica Labour Party that tackles these things. Why, for example, have the party not reached out? Well, I don't know. Are they getting support from their bloggers and people on TikTok, for example?
I couldn't talk I couldn't talk for everyone who consider himself to be a blogger's neighbor for the Jamaica Labour Party. I know and I know, and I don't know, and I had no one that reach out to me. Anything that I'm doing here, neighbor, I'm just doing that for my personal self, neighbor.
Hold on, but you are
definitely.
Hold on, Traki. You are a leading voice, maybe the most credible on the air in terms of TikTok. You are a very well spoken defender of the party. No one from the party has reached out to you to help. No, you haven't had no conversations.
No, neighbor, I haven't had any conversation with anyone of the party, neighbor, who reach out to me for pushing a message or anything like that, neighbor. Whatever message I'm pushing, neighbor, because of my straight there is not planned. I take time out of my personal time.
Why do you do it?
Neighbor, I felt that neighbor there was a calling for this, neighbor. There's a lot of misinformation going out there, neighbor. And not only misinformation, neighbor, even information, neighbor. I think how we disseminate information in Jamaica, neighbor, we have an issue with it, neighbor. And what I saw with TikTok, neighbor, and a lot of persons who I think most of them don't understand with TikTok, neighbor, is the reason why you see social media gain certain traction, neighbor, from formal media or traditional media is, neighbor, is because of the ability for the regular man or common man to understand what you're saying on social media. But a lot of these persons, neighbor, because of they come on social media, they come with the same top-end talking as if they're on formal media and traditional media, and it still continue to fly over the masses who are here. So I came on this place, neighbor, to use my lingual and my style of deliverance, neighbor, to reach the common person who might understand me. I might not say everything that might be grammatically correct or certainly, but the common man who I know and who me the years of voice for, him understand everything what Scratchy say. So that was my reason, neighbor. I felt that there wasn't that space for a common person like that who could articulate themselves in a common man where make a common man understand every single thing, GDP or whatever it want to name, on a basic level. So that was my reason for coming onto the media.
Well, I am amazed that that there's no formal reaching out to you, but that's for another time. No, Scratchy. Clearly, though, the disaster have divided Jamaica, and the spoils are what there's a struggle over, Scratchy. I think it would be fair to say that as far as the recovery, the response from the government has been, Scratchy, that we want to rely on the experts from the World Bank and said that the government, under the circumstances, would have acted the best they can, correct?
Definitely, neighbor.
Okay.
As I said before, neighbor. Go ahead.
Yes, but Scratchy, we are 1 month in now, and I suspect that there are some things that are beginning to show up. Do you think that at this point the government ought to shift their focus from food distribution to, more putting of people's lives back together in terms of housing and things like that? Do you think it's fair to assume that the government will need to press forward a little bit more on that side of the distribution?
Definitely, neighbor. I agree with you 1,000%, neighbor. I mean, I support the government 100%, neighbor. But despite supporting the government, neighbor, each and every one of us might have our own difference of opinion based on what we're seeing going on. And nothing is wrong with sharing our opinion. And whatever opinion we share, neighbor, it should be seen as being biased towards the government or against the government. It's just you might look at it from a different angle and saying that it could be done from that side or it could be done from this angle. We don't know the in-depth of what is going on directly inside of government. We are outside. We're just speculating and just giving our opinion. We're on a platform, and I think we should be allowed to give our opinion. So yes, neighbor, I definitely agree, neighbor, that I think that a robust push now need to be made, neighbor, toward the development side of this now, neighbor. The way our food is being distributed, I understand now that a lot of these persons are even rebutting the food and saying that yes, they have enough food now, they want to move to the next stages. But I think in the way how that next stage should be done, neighbor, it must be done in a robust way, neighbor, a way that majority of these persons who are misplaced, neighbor, benefit, so that we can always come, neighbor, whatever we are doing, neighbor, we have to always make sure that we reach majority. So whenever the cries start to make, neighbor, even though yes, the cries will be heard, but the cries are not coming from the majority. So we want to make sure, neighbor, that I definitely agree with the neighbor and think that a robust push now in terms of some construction material and stuff like that. I understand, neighbor, that whatever plans the government might have for the disaster areas, neighbor, I think for the sake, neighbor, of humanity and dignity and pride, and for the sake of the festive season to, neighbor, and what family means to us during this time, neighbor, and for psychological, and to hinder or lessen the amount of psychological effect that these persons are going, I think whatever plans the government have for that side.
Okay. A little
Not the long term. So I think that whatever way or whatever cases, neighbor, I think something robust need to be done for temporary housing for these persons, neighbor. If we put on back some roofing and get some zinc from the government in some way, shape, or form through bulk or through direct shipping, and put on some temporary roofing or something for these people, neighbor, to see if we can get them back in place as best as possible. And then now, community by community, now the government can take the approach of whatever they would want to take in terms of legalizing or regularizing these people, neighbor. But need to be made, neighbor, towards roofing and putting back some of these people back to life together as soon as possible. I definitely agree with that, though.
Scratchy, you're from West Kingston. The Jamaica Labour Party lost the 1989 elections following Hurricane Gilbert. despite Mr. Siaga remarkable, I mean, you were a young man then, right? You
When that, neighbor?
in 1989.
1989, September. Yeah, I was about 1 year old, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Listen to me. The People's National Party, I think, Scratchy, sees an opportunity here and are exploiting it. Do you think that politics, Scratchy, is at the heart of what we're seeing here?
Neighbor, this is Jamaica, neighbor. And if I'm gonna be real, neighbor, every single sector of our society, neighbor, is riddled or affected by politics. So definitely, neighbor, in the political scene itself, neighbor, where politics matters, I don't see why politics would matters. Politics is definitely at play, neighbor, here. The opposition, neighbor, is seeing an opportunity how they can try to make the government look bad in this, neighbor, and they will see the opportunity of that. They're gonna try their utmost best, neighbor, to make the thing look like it is.
To a caller there. I don't have a response. I don't have a request from Abby. Okay, I'm not seeing a request from her, so I don't think she has sent me a request. So just tell her that I don't have a request from her. Okay, so if she would need to send it. Yeah. So Scratchy, are we agreed that this is raw politics?
As raw as it can get, neighbor, this is raw politics, neighbor, being played by the opposition, neighbor. Definitely, neighbor. The opposition, neighbor, understand how Jamaicans is, neighbor. They know how the political landscape is. They understand how the persons in this part of the island think, neighbor. They understand, neighbor, the vulnerability. They see what they're about to lose, neighbor. So they're trying their utmost best, neighbor, to make sure that they disturb that, whatever aid or whatever thing the government is going to come with, neighbor. The opposition is going to come and downplay it, neighbor. They're going to make it look like the situation is the government don't have no form of control. We saw Angela Brownberg trying to do it in the parliament, and the Prime Minister shut her down in the most classical ways. So I expect this a lot of politicking from the opposition, neighbor, and I think this is one of the reasons why we see the Prime Minister come out so bold, neighbor, because the Prime Minister understand, neighbor, that all these disasters can create these disasters. One like this disaster overthrew the Labour Party going for a third term back in 1989. As you spoke about that earlier. The Prime Minister is in his third term, neighbor, and he know that the rhetoric that is coming from the opposition can trigger some for a fear-mongering, neighbor, among the electorate. And we don't know what it can push and what it can cause. And at this time where we are right now, we don't want that, neighbor. So yes, neighbor, the opposition is in a situation right now where they are worried, neighbor, because they know that as a government, neighbor, the government, the resources that the government has at its disposal right now, the opposition is concerned about that, neighbor, because they know that if the government should roll out these resources, neighbor, it is possible that it might dilute the presence or the effect of the opposition going forward. Because right now, persons want a house, neighbor, and the greatest thing you can give a man in life, or the greatest thing a man can achieve in life, is a house. So if this government should give persons a house, the opposition is worried that possibility that they might lose traction and lose a lot of votes, and they are worried.
Okay.
But politics are playing here, but without a doubt, it's politics.
Let me move you to a major story that is developing in Jamaica, Scratch. And when I tell you that this story is big, I am telling you it is big. Now, the government has loaned the Jamaica Public Service $150 million United States dollars, Scratchy. And I spent some time looking at this today. Quite frankly, Scratchy, the government wants to get the economy back up. If the economy is not up, the resources that we need, Scratchy, for the rebuilding phase of the disaster, even if we borrow that money, we have to repay that debt. And you can't do that if you don't get your economy up. But here is one hand, Scratchy, that government is trying to help the very people that are crying for help. But the new propaganda that we have to be now dealing with, Scratchy, is that the government used the cat bond money to lend it to JPS. Scratchy, that is just scratching the surface. Do you have a comment on that?
I mean, neighbor, you see now what persons need to understand, neighbor, that persons are saying, neighbor, that they want electricity, neighbor, and they want light. So let's be real and see how important is electricity. Is electricity one of the main driving force to behind the productivity of our economy? Of course, a lot of these restaurants, bars, and all of these businesses, neighbor.
Hold a minute for me. Caroline, are you on?
Yes, neighbor, I am.
I understand that they want to link us with Minister Charles. Could you work on that for me? I think you need to send a request or something. I'm not so sure what to do.
Okay, well, I need to get a message from Abby so I can add her, or she need to send, Abby, if you're listening, could you please send a request? Thanks.
She's asking you to send her a request, Caroline.
I'm not able to send her a request from you. You'd have to do it, please.
But I don't know why these. Well, hold on there for me, Scratchy. Can I send anybody? Can I send a request? Can I send a request? I'm not even sure. Can I send a request? Let me hold on there for me, Scratchy.
You can send a request, neighbor, if she's in the guest list or if she makes a comment on the page.
Okay, because I'm not seeing her at all. I'm not seeing her. Let me check something else here. Give me a second.
Hey neighbor.
Yes.
Just spoke with Abs. So Minister Charles. Would we be joining? He can give us about 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm not seeing a request from them.
Oh, so you won't see it until Scratchy and I and Caroline come down.
Oh,
So it has to be only you up.
okay. Well. Let me wrap up. Then we can get him back.
Yes, I'll drop down and then I'll have.
Hold on before you come down, sir. Oh.
Yes, neighbor.
All right, great. Okay, you can just tell her to do that. Sorry about that.
All right.
We bring up back strategy just after.
Then it can't be satisfaction.
We're
Yes, can't be satisfaction. It has to be that we are moving aggressively towards getting those things done for our Jamaicans, because every single Jamaican deserves that shelter. Every single Jamaican deserves the confidence that they're going to have a meal and access to water and access to connectivity. And then moving there strategically. I had a great meeting with the United Nations group 2 days ago where they are actually working with us now around pulling in some volunteers that they will fund to help to ramp up the assessments, as well as volunteers coming in from other ministries, departments and agencies to ramp up the level of assessments that we can do. The faster we can do the assessments is the faster that we'll be able to get the benefits out to the people. Before we let in one of the greatest journalists Jamaica has seen, I see him come on the screen now. Before he jumps back in, let me say this. A lot of people asking about farm work and social work has been employed. Let me say this. We are facing a lot of scams on TikTok where everybody's using my image to pull people to their page to say that we are doing farm work recruiting right now. We're not doing any heavy recruiting right now. However, I will be engaging with the US officials very soon in next week to see if we can ramp up some of those opportunities, particularly now where many people from Westmoreland and other places will want opportunities for farm work more than ever before. So we are trying to ramp those up, and you will hear from me soon. In December, I'll make some public statements around farm work and when you can get on your marks. And in terms of the social workers, we do need social workers, but we have to prepare ourselves to absorb you before we can start to recruit at a very heavy, not heavy, but at a level where we can bring in tens and I wouldn't say 100, but maybe 200, which is what we need. So we have to prepare this physical space and the organizational structure, and we're doing that now. So listen out. We'll make some pronouncements on that very soon. Okay. You guys have me for a very short time. So
yeah. So
batter me with the questions.
Being that I talk to you all the time, Minister, let me allow Hello Neighbor to ask whatever questions he wants to ask. So Hello Neighbor, the floor is yours now.
Yeah, great Minister. Minister, I know you as a lawyer. I don't know you as a doctor. You must be careful with my head, you see, sir, when you talk. Greatest journalist. You have lots of problems in the government. You don't want to add me to that.
No, that's all right.
I don't know how comfortable you would be to speak on a general issue. The government has loaned JPS $150 million United dollars.
Yes.
And I looked at that today, and it is causing some concerns in the society. On one hand, the government wants to bring the economy back, and therefore people need light to stimulate economic growth, economic activity. But then there are people who are asking, did you use the cat bond money to lend JPS? You want to clear that up, sir?
So the simple answer is no. No.
Okay. So how do you balance?
So let me say this. I don't want to speak in details on an issue which is not with the portfolio, but as a Jamaican, not as a minister now, as a Jamaican, it is not difficult for me to appreciate the linkages between having, efficient, modernized, I would say, reliable system, which is an electrical network that is needed to power all of our devices and power the assets that we need to drive national development. JPS is central to all of the things that we require as part of the expedition towards restoration. We want to move the country out of where it is now in terms of the doldrum of Hurricane Melissa and get back to the growth. Remember, the last quarter, Jamaica was 4.6% growth. We have never heard numbers like that since 1960s, right? And we want to get back there as fast as possible. And so we have a responsibility to make sure that we give the support to those central assets and institutions that are necessary to catapult us back to that stage of growth and stability. And JPS is one, whether we like it or whether we don't like it. The reality is that we have to be responsible as a government. Responsible government is not emotional. Responsible government uses the data, analyzes it, and makes projections and decisions based on facts. And the fact is that we need this institution, this organization, to be on its feet as quickly as possible so that it can power the rest of those organizations and departments and agencies and the private sector that is required to move us back to where we were in the last quarter.
I understand that, Minister, but you are in an emotional society, and especially when propaganda and misinformation are at their very at the very top today. Today, Minister, the Prime Minister was in Westmoreland, and he, with broken language, suggests that he's not afraid of nobody, and he was going to be taking on the fight. Why is the Prime Minister having to do this, Minister Charles?
I think you answered the question in your last comment, which is a designation of the reality that we face in our country. That people are emotive, people, because they want information, listen to everything that they can, and sometimes it is difficult to distill between the truth and the facts. And the reality is that the effort of some persons with a particular agenda to spread misinformation is so aggressive that if you do not stand up like the Prime Minister is standing up and say, I am here ready to take on the fight, you may very well lay yourself bare to being consumed as a society by misinformation, misunderstanding that will change perceptions and then affect what people see as their lived realities. And a big part of the government's responsibility is communication. And in communicating in 2025, it's not just passage of information from you to someone else, from point A to point B. It is also like you're on a road and you have to protect yourself from bad drivers. So while you are driving properly, you have to be defensive driving, hitting away that misinformation, pushing away that one, stopping that one, clarifying that one, turning that one around, and making sure that we are doing everything we can to ensure that the people who we serve are served with information that is authentic, that is accurate, and that allows them to have a fulsome picture of what's taking place and not be consumed by the false narratives, which are clearly peddled for a very, very clear reason and agenda.
Minister Charles, don't you think we need a reset of this process where the opposition quite clearly is suggesting that they have been left out and may be responsible for a lot of the misinformation that is being spread? For example, I hear opposition MPs suggesting that they don't have enough to give to the people, when I hear the Prime Minister saying that the money that we have given to the MPs are for different reasons. The government itself is responsible for reconstruction.
Hello, neighbor. I don't want, say, it's my Friday night, it's my Sabbath, I don't want you to get me started. Because that's a question that's going to get me emotional now. So, but let me respond to you. Every member of parliament, every single one, has received funds that they can use from the government to support their constituency. Every member of parliament is a member of parliament in their own right, which means if a PNP member of parliament decides to switch to JLP or want to, they can do so, meaning you're independent. It's just affiliated, but you're independent, meaning you must take some responsibility for your constituency. You shouldn't be sitting down and waiting on anybody. Just like me, I am the Minister of Labour and Social Security, and I take my own funding. I find funding from other persons, just like how you find it for run election, and I bring support into my constituency. That is not government support.
Yes.
I can show you in the back of my car the packages I have given people is not government packages.
Yes.
Kernel packages. So you have a responsibility to not only use the CDF money wisely, but to go out and seek for your people. And I'm going to tell you the other thing that irks me.
You are not seen as a member of parliament, though, no, Minister Charles. You are the Minister of Labour and Social Security. So if you are seen giving out packages, it could be misconstrued.
That's fine. But I also seek to clarify, and I make sure that people know that they don't know exactly what I do in my constituency. No, but let me say this, just to be very, very fair and transparent. As Minister of Labour with responsibility for the packages when they came off in the first phase, I sent 900 packages to the members of parliament in the West, Hanover, and the one in St. Elizabeth that is affiliated with the PNP.
You didn't send it to Mr. Vaz in Central Westmoreland?
Yes, I did.
No, but no, sir. Mr. Vaz says he has got.
Listen to me. Just listen to me first, and then you'll hear the full story. 900 packages went to the 3 MPs in Westmoreland, 1 in Hanover, 2 in Hanover, and 1 in St. Elizabeth, just for them to split up. All of them got 150 each. Before anybody in Trelawney got. Before anybody else got. In addition to that, I made sure to do airlift in Darlingston, which is in Dayton Campbell seat, of 1,000 packages.
Wow.
And each of those packages can serve a family of 3 for 1 week. And I must tell you, I want to acknowledge Mr. Campbell. He was very grateful. He was organized, and his counselor, can't remember his name, was a gracious man. And if I could help them again, I would help them again. Mr. Vaz got a similar set, I think either 900 or 1,000 massive packages. Mr. Vaz was airlifted into his seat at Reno Sports Complex. It didn't go as organized. For whatever reason, that was not well organized. And Mr. Vaz had a lot of accusations that his opponent was there and other people. I didn't call his opponent. Okay, but people were there and it didn't work out as organized. But the reality is the government with our partners put 1,000 packages into one seat and 900 into another seat in Westmoreland. And there are several other airlifts that took place in Westmoreland and several other packages that went to Westmoreland. Westmoreland got 40% of all packages coming out of the Ministry of Labour went to Westmoreland and split up between the 3 MPs there, who happened to be MPs from the opposition. And I never saw color with them. I had hold on, I'm going to tell you more. I wish I could show you on my phone. I called them in a group call to discuss with them issues around the seat and how we can help. So listen.
In Westmoreland, sir?
I tell you, don't ask me these questions. I'm a Sabbath, man. I tell you, don't ask me the question. I'm a Sabbath, and you're trying to get me out. I'm saying what I'm saying to you. Hello, neighbor. Listen to me now. When you hear MPs say that they have not gotten anything, it is tantamount to someone who feels they are entitled to something that they are not due. I have no mandatory or obligatory, there's no duty for me to give an MP a package. I passed packages to MPs because in the emergency stage, right after the hurricane, it would have been impossible for my ministry alone and JDF to reach everyone. And so we made a decision that we would utilize the MPs to make sure that anybody coming to them, we had at least a little packages with them so they could get support.
Yes.
But the failure is where the MPs believe that because we gave them some packages in the first part, it is that we now must take on the responsibility of consistently passing packages to them. That's not the way it works. That's not the policies. They are provided with a schedule. They are all aware of where the package, or should be aware of where the teams are going to do assessments and packages. Now I want to stop there and say it's not always perfect communication, because even in my constituency sometimes I quarrel that I am not aware. But the reality is, with the Westmoreland MPs, we set up a WhatsApp group.
Wow.
And the Ministry of Labour allowed them to have either themselves or a nominee, so the information would pass to them. Incredible. So when I hear MPs come out and say The government has not done anything. Who do you think is organizing with the World Food Program and the Food for the Poor? The government, through the Ministry of Labor, is the lead of the Humanitarian Assistance Committee. We are the ones that lead that coordination. So if we think about it now, if we are the government and we working with WFP know that they are going to get 50,000 packages, would you want your government to go spend money upon 50,000 a package to buy and waste money? Or would you want your government to coordinate it? So we use those packages while we use our services. So we use the JDF, we use the Ministry of Labor, we use our helicopters, we use our transportation to pass the packages.
We're doing well.
What is happening? What is happening, hello neighbor, is that you have people who have an agenda. When someone has an agenda, they don't want to listen to you. All they want is to spout rubbish so that other people will be contaminated with their rubbish.
And I know the agenda. I know the agenda, Minister.
And I'm going to tell you something else. I'm going to tell you something else that happened to me before I have to go quickly, because people are waiting on me outside.
Wow.
I was called to Westmoreland. And I pick up myself and say, you know what? Let me go as minister and see what is taking place, because Nationwide had announced that they were doing a, what they call it again, rebuilding hurricane militia relief outside broadcast. They chose two places to do it. One, Mazuka Garage, and another is at the Maud McLeod High School. I passed by the Mazuka Garage. I hailed up Cliff Hughes, hailed up Mr. Mazuka, went down. I saw one of my staff members there that was assisting. So a lady came to me and asked me to take a picture. I took a picture with her. I took my blood pressure because they had some people taking blood pressure there. And then I left and I went to Darlistan, because Darlistan is where I was going, because that's where the shelter was. I called the MP, I didn't get him. I called him back, I got him. I said, boy, MP, I just live in Darlistan because it's a lot of rain and the people had scattered. So I spoke with the principal and I spoke to other persons, and, you know, then I left. The next day I heard that as Minister of Labor, I came into Westmoreland and was giving out packages only to JLP people at a JLP house. I said to myself, you know, God, you have to bless these people. You have to give a special blessing to someone who's a lie. Because that's them just lie, man. That is not mislead, that is a lie. Because they know as a fact that Nationwide is having an outside broadcast, and they know as a fact that the Ministry of Labor helps everybody. It doesn't matter who it was or who it is. We assist all persons in distributing support. Once it is support that's going to people. And you know, as I said to you, I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. I believe that if we spend the time focusing on the people more than focusing on the package, we wouldn't have this problem. Because when I hear a member of parliament get up and say, you're only giving to labor right, or you know the personal labor right. How do we even know the personal labor? How do you know? How does anybody know?
They have green eyes, sir.
I don't know. I don't live in Westmoreland. I have no clue who is who there. Right? And I can tell you as a fact that my ministry, we don't have that intention. Matter of fact, there are many persons there who work there who do support the same party that they're talking about. And we don't care. This is not a care for us. We do our work. We're professional. And if you can show evidence of it, then I can at least allow myself to assess it and take action. But there's no evidence of it. What is being shown is a video of packages in the back of a van. That's it. But it's the narration. The narration around it is to skew the mind of the viewer so that the viewer can think a particular way. It's sort of like when the psychologist tells you that if you come into a room and you say red, 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 you'll only look on what is red in the room. You'll see all the red things. So they want to skew the mind of the Jamaican citizen to think negative about the government, to think negative about this process of restoration, but it's not going to win. It's not going to be successful because just like we did in COVID, this government is going to restore Jamaica with strong decisions back to a better position than we were before Hurricane Melissa. And when it happens, dog name your supper. I'm going to say good night.
No, sir. Just give me one more
Yes,
question.
I have to run now.
Yeah. Minister Charles, where would you say we are now in terms of the recovery process? The people who don't have roofs over their heads tonight.
Yes.
Talk to
Yes.
them. They have food.
So let me tell you where we are. Right now, we have moved from the I would say emergency stage of the scampering out with packages to a much more strategic, scheduled process that is focused now on assessments. Assessments being expanded, training of assessors, expanding that cohort so that we can give Jamaica a world-leading assessment process. We want to assess up to 200,000 persons at a world record pace, and we want to do it so that the data has integrity and that we're in a position to make Jamaica proud, because we have to do the assessment so we can give the people the benefit. You ready for me? All right. I gotta run.
You're gonna come back, Minister.
I'm being rude to people who are outside.
You're gonna have to come back.
Yes, you and Abby is not a good mix here. They mustn't be in one place one time. Take care of yourself, guys. All the best. Blessings.
Take care, Minister Charles. Great talking.
Seems like he's frozen. Is he gone?
Yeah, I think the minister has had to leave.
Yeah, he's gone now.
Well, Abby, good night again to you.
Good night.
You're not giving me enough time, Minister. Why?
No, it's not me. From the moment he came on, I sent you the nudge. It was counting down, and then all of a sudden it said, I'm unable to send you another nudge. Yeah,
Well,
I don't know what's going on.
What
with
you probably
TikTok
will
here.
have to do is to get my moderator's number.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, one of them messaged me. I think it's Caroline.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to talk to the minister about a couple of things, man. By the way, Minister Morgan. I need to speak to Minister Morgan. You know.
All right. Let me draft a message now.
He's speaking to Mr. Morgan.
Mr. Morgan.
He's integral in this too. And I'd like to talk to Mr. Vaz.
All right. So that's Minister Morgan, Minister Vaz. Minister Samuda promised to come back, so I need to follow up with him as well.
Yes.
So all right, I'll work on those.
Yeah, me know. Okay, talk to Caroline.
All right, cool, no problem.
Take care of yourself.
All right.
All right, so if Scratchy could just join me back. Let me tell you this. Betty Milk. Well, 10 minutes with the minister, not sufficient at all.
No more pain.
Just beginning to scratch the surface. Betty, hi, how you doing?
No more sorrow.
No more sorrow, no more pain. Scratchy?
Yes, the best journalist.
Boy, I tell you. What is the minister saying? That you are the best on TikTok, Scratchy?
He said you're the best journalist on this, you know.
Look at that, eh? Boy, I tell you. I wonder what the minister is saying there. I tell you, boy, I tell you. Anyway, no doubt they hear about you, Scratchy. No doubt they hear about you.
I know why you're back from the praise and the glory. You know, you work hard for it, you know.
No. You are the man that helped us to
to be. But you know, Scratchy, the minister said, like, can we find Mr. Vaz? Was he drunk? Hold on. Because you heard the minister what he said he did to Mr. Vaz?
Yeah, exactly, neighbor. I told you about Mr. Vaz,
Mr. Vaz.
The only assistance you have gotten from the government was the $3 million that was mentioned by Dr. Campbell earlier.
Jesus, but Scratchy, what is happening in Jamaica? The Minister of Labour and Social Security just said on this program that he gave packages to you. And the man said the only, listen to him again. Go ahead.
The only assistance you have gotten from the government was the $3 million that was mentioned by Dr. Campbell earlier. Every other assistance with regards to food, packages, and water have come from private donors.
You heard that, Scratchy?
All of us, neighbor, all of us.
But Scratchy, this can't work. This can't continue.
Exactly. This is why you said the Prime Minister.
Come no, but when a member of parliament is caught lying like this, Scratchy.
This is why the Prime Minister, neighbor, was in the tone and the broken language that he used to the neighbor. This is the reason why the Prime Minister was like that to the neighbor. Elected representative who have the authority, neighbor, and the privilege to go sit in our parliament can call a press conference and spew lie like this in the public, neighbor. I tell you, this guy, neighbor, I don't know. Neighbor, this guy is not a good member of parliament. I'm telling you, this guy is one of the worst members of parliament. If there was a member of parliament before, I don't see what he did. And I see these people come vote him in, but neighbor, this guy is a rumhead, always sit up in a rum bar. I can't believe the neighbor. If the minister cleared it up, I'm glad the minister came on here tonight and cleared it up, neighbor, because you have been playing this clip all week. And I'm glad they get the minister's point. I'm very glad they get that tonight.
Listen to Mr. Hughes.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness last night at Gordon House in the Parliament on his feet responding. And you know, I tell you, I am very concerned about a disease that is taking root in our politics. It's a disease that is being normalized in certain democracies. The democracy, normalization of lying, the normalization of lying. And I've spoken about it here. And in that's what you saw in the parliament.
Scratchy, the normalization of lying. Listen to Mr. Vaz again. Listen to Mr. Vaz. You just heard the minister. Minister, go ahead.
The only assistance you have gotten from the government was the $3 million that was mentioned by Dr. Campbell earlier. Every other assistance with regards to food, packages, and water have come from private donors. We have to thank all of these persons who have been coming out. There have been major organizations, like, for example, Jim that was mentioned earlier, but there have been numerous private individuals who have come into the parish. Some of them are from the parish, some are not, but they have lent a helping hand. And the residents of the constituency have been truly appreciative of what has been done so far. So just in closing, I just want to say Central Westmoreland.
What a shame.
Very shame. Shame and embarrassment, neighbor. Shame and embarrassment.
What a shame.
And he should be called out, neighbor. He should be called out.
What a shame.
Neighbor, we don't have any law who can put him behind jail for a couple of months for misleading the public.
But when I'm to them, Larry went and this lie. I'm telling you, within a year or two, neighbor, if this guy continue like this and it's in the parliament, this guy's gonna need some false teeth very soon, neighbor. Him 2 teeth them soon drop out, neighbor. I'm telling you, neighbor, them lie till them teeth drop out. I'm telling you. Give him another year or two, neighbor, and continue lying like this. You're gonna need teeth.
Harry, the juxtapose for me, Harry, the government's desire to balance economic activity with people's lives. This loan to JPS, Harry, is causing some concerns. As a matter of fact, consternation in some quarters. Let's get across the idea that the government loaned the JPS the Cat 1 fund. But you know, Harry, it is causing some problems in the society. Help me and the listeners to understand the balancing act here, Harry, of getting the grid up and at the same time building back people's lives.
Neighbor, I think after a while we're beating the dead horse, to be honest, because there's no way people's head should be so tough. Because as it stands, and I'm going to use one of the opposition MPs that would have been affected, Nikisha Burchell came and said they need utilities to be up and running. Neighbor, the last time I checked, they need water, right? The pumps are not fully operational. They utilize electricity. What does JPS provide the country? Electricity. What's the time frame they said we will get the recovery? June, July. The 150 million or the 24 billion Jamaican dollars actually will ensure that the time frame is cut shorter. So those utilities that Ms. Burchell speak of can be fully operational and people get back light, because she same one say she's calling out for torch lamps and so on. So if we give JPS and we loan them this money, in a shorter time, neighbor, those people can get back their dignity, they can get back light, they can get back good running water. And at the same time, that itself triggers a level of development again. So that is looking at it to say business and the people, getting the economy slowly turning in terms of that side, so people can start have some level of normalcy. I just can't understand why.
How do you communicate? Hold on. How do you communicate this, though, Harry? Because I must tell you that I was amazed, as a matter of fact, aghast at the clips that I have seen, where people are saying, you lend the JPS money and we don't get back our house yet. How do you make the case that the loaning of the money to the JPS actually helps with the getting back of the house? How do you make that case?
Well, we'll have to start from one part, neighbor. So the narrative with it is that these persons that are running with this, right, what they do is to spin it in a way where it seems like the 150 million is being taken away from the ability of the government providing shelter.
Yes.
So what they do, they make it look like everything is done in silos. Like if I move this money, nothing else can be done. That is how they're spinning it, and that is how they're running with everything.
So you are
right?
saying that
And people are so
JPS in no way prevents the government from acting in the interest of its people.
No way whatsoever, neighbor. In fact,
the loan is coming. The loan is coming from the consolidated fund, neighbor. The loan is coming from the consolidated fund, but it's not a part of the consolidated fund.
So what they're doing, a neighbor, right? Because let's play their game. Currently, we have $1.15 billion, right? If we take out the 150 million out of that, don't we still have more than enough money to continue? If, as we speak, none of the donation money has been touched, doesn't that mean we also have money to provide shelter? And this is the thing with it. They both work hand in hand to do infrastructure, to get back shelter, to get back housing for these people. They will also need electricity. They will also need additional things. And us putting JPS back on the grid. Because remember, the neighbor, a lot of these people also benefit from the tourism package down in that end. Now we're going into the peak of our tourism period, neighbor. Why would we not want to help the economic activities that these people depend on, because a lot of them depend on it. Should it, so let's give them the house, right? They have no work, none of that. When they get the light, can they afford it? No, because they haven't been working. So how about while we wait on the housing infrastructure to come into place, JPS do their work so they can have light, they can have good running water, they can, and these things in a neighbor. Persons will say, oh, generators, you can't even afford to fuel these generators. So your safest bet is to get JPS in terms of that side up and running.
The point is, Harry, that it is not an either or situation. The government is doing both.
Have to, neighbor. There's no other option for that. Because
why people don't get that, Harry? Why people don't get that?
So the thing with it, neighbor, they're operating not just ignorant, but they don't understand the money aspect of it. And here's why I say that. You have a point, a time when they're saying the country have money so we can do it. But then when it comes down to us giving JPS the money, is why they might take away the money. So now they are also confused because they can't put the picture together. They're receiving so much misleading information, they don't even know what to do with it. And they don't realize that.
I put it to you, Harry. I'm hurrying you along a little. I put it to you, Harry, that here is a situation where it would be good for the opposition to have supported this move by the government, and that the opposition lack of fulsome support is part of what has caused the confusion.
Definitely, neighbor, 100%. Because when you look at it, the opposition, and this is something nobody wants to talk about the reality of, that side of Jamaica is not, I want to say, is not the bread and butter of JPS, right? So JPS really and truly wouldn't be no hurry, to do it. But also the opposition also knows there is.
What side of Jamaica are you talking about? What side of Jamaica? Westmoreland?
In terms of Westmoreland side, right? Because they are not properly structured on the grid.
Oh.
So JPS themselves don't necessarily benefit as we think they do. That is the reality, neighbor.
Hold on. When the opposition leader raises a question as to which section of Jamaica, that's where that is coming from?
That is where it's coming from, neighbor. Because understand this, and I can prove it, right? We know, and we're not saying Westmoreland only have, board houses and whatever, but based on the land tenure and structure of Westmoreland, most people there, a percentage I'd say, can pick up them house and move. Now, neighbor, if you have foundation and everything, JPS has hooked you up on their grid, you can take up your house and leave? You can't. So because these people can do it, that is also proof to say that these people are not necessarily on the grid.
But when they move in their house, how they cut off the light?
Neighbor, you chop on wire and move on with the life.
Wire them chop, neighbor, then just take down let her move.
Neighbor, you have areas there where if you look at a light post, you think it's a substation to how many wires does it run. And I can back that. Anybody can challenge me.
Hold on, Harry. You are saying to me that the Jamaica Public Service Company, in their restoration efforts, will not prioritize Westmoreland?
They won't, neighbor. They won't. Remember now, we're 74, 76% currently up and running. If we look even on the populace there and what their activities are and the level of energy consumption, it's nothing compared to other areas. And that is just the truth, because business as usual, looking at it from JPS, I'm not going to put out my resources for the least contributor to my finances, neighbor. It don't make sense, especially when it's going to cost so much money. So I'm going to take my time to complete it. And then I can also hide behind the fact that Westmoreland was hit at category 5. I can hide behind it because that is true. I can hide behind the truth, and hide the real aspect of what I'm doing. And that is just shrewd business. But we don't want to speak about that.
I think one of the main things to a lot of persons are missed, neighbor, in this whole thing with JPS, neighbor, and the government wanted to give JPS that loan, neighbor. Yes, it has to do with bringing back persons light faster, neighbor. But we must also remember, neighbor, that if the government don't try to provide this funding, neighbor, it is possible that the government might have to grant JPS that extension of the license. And the government don't want to grant that extension, neighbor. The government don't want to grant that extension because if that 15-year extension is granted, neighbor, we cannot be penny wise and pound fool. It will cost us more than 150 million US over that 15-year period of taxpayers and consumers of JPS current. So we have to be smart, neighbor. Persons need to be understanding and know how finances work, how business work, neighbor. What the government is doing, neighbor, is trying to minimize future risks because by loaning this money so that we can, yes, get back our electricity within a timely manner, but also not extending, neighbor, the contract of JPS beyond 2027. And persons have to understand that we cannot, neighbor, JPS is a sort of chokehold, and we cannot afford another 2 or 5 year extension of this license. I don't have a problem with government lending the money. I want the negotiation to start so that we can get a better terms and conditions with whosoever is granted the next license, neighbor. People have to understand how government work, how system work. Stop here this figure 150 million. 150 million might sound enough to me and you, neighbor, but these are chump change to governments. These are chumps to governments, neighbor.
Yes.
Stop here 150 million US and Tony idiot. Yes, it's a lot of money to us personally. But these are chump change to governments, neighbor.
Yes. Yeah. Governments can actually print money, Scratchy.
And then neighbor, look at it, based on the timeline JPS gave us, right? June, July. That's us coming into another hurricane period, That is just them giving back electricity and trying to sort out the grid. Trying to, right? Another system comes. All it takes is for us to get 3-4 days worth of rain and everything pushed back again. And what that also means, our productivity will also go down. Because if this thing is not sped up and done right, this injection of money is actually value. Let's move it away from saying it is 150 million. Look at the value it brings. One, it takes away 5 years from the next agreement for JPS. So we're slowly releasing the blade from Jamaica's hands and slowly taking the handle and handing JPS the blade. With that 150 million neighbor, that's us buying into a stronghold against JPS, so we can get better agreements for people going forward. It is also improving the grid for JPS, and I stated before, JPS infrastructure can only handle category 3. That is flying over people's head. So opposition don't want people to know that, because guess what? If they improve the grid down there, the opposition have no talk coming election time, because they're going to see a level of prosperity that they have never seen before.
If they improve the grid,
and the opposition cannot allow that. Yeah.
No.
Because neighbor, remember,
Explain that to me.
So what happens, neighbor, is that when some of these, because one of the aspects is going underground with a few sections, right? JPS themselves, again, they don't have the full money to do everything. But if the grid is improved, you also improve the standard of people's lives, meaning through weaker systems, we can still be connected, neighbor. Critical resources and utilities will still be almost in full operation throughout. That may be your NWS in terms of water, depends on what it is. Your clinics and hospitals will also have power in case of any additional emergency. That is something they've never seen. Right? Your nearest shelter will be fully connected if there's no major catastrophe going down. And that is something they've also never seen. So this is actually improving people's access to proper infrastructure in specific utilities, neighbor. Because if you improve the access to utilities and the availability for it, people's lives automatically improve. And the opposition cannot handle that. So they have to run with certain narratives. And one thing I can commend Mark Golding on, he didn't explicitly come and say, don't do it. But he implied it enough for us to know that's what it is. But because the surrogates now gonna say you don't have proof, say him outright say it. No. You have a brain, critical thinking. You know when say. You ever hear them say, no answer is an answer? That is exactly the case here. And I keep stating it. The opposition cannot match up to where the bar of proper governance is. So they want to derail it coming down to their level. With a crab in the barrel mentality, neighbor. And that is just the cold truth. That is the reality where people, well, their surrogates don't want to understand and don't want people know. But it can be a situation where, oh, we just focus on trying to get house and shelter. What happened to the same amenities that Zulika Jess is crying out for? The hospitals to get, hospitals and clinics and emergency areas to get light. So if I give you all the house, how do you get, with that 150 million, how do you get these other amenities? They can't answer questions like that because...
The obvious, Harry, is that the government has lent JPS 150 million and people don't have no hope. That's the myopic, simplistic way to look at it. How you respond to that?
Neighbor, I simply ask them how much money the government have for the recovery. And anybody with common sense would understand that 150 million don't scratch the surface of the money available to handle other responsibilities. Right? You're not even to do big maths. It is just where it is. But they have a thing where let us not let them know how good giving JPS that money will be for the country. Because that's what it is, neighbor. This is almost once in a lifetime opportunity as it stands right now for us to get a grasp on JPS again for our people. JPS can't fully dictate again to that extent because we would have used the people's money. And the government sees it fit to benefit the people because, as I broke it down, this is the government investing in the people indirectly through JPS. You get a shorter time, so you get back light faster. You start to stimulate a little bit more economic growth, as slow it may be, because economy has to go on. Life still goes on.
Are we having a problem?
And on top of that,
are we having a problem
yes,
of education, Harry? Is it that our people are lacking basic understanding of business and money? Is it more politics or is a lack of education?
Neighbor, I'm giving it an aspect of both, right? Especially a specific demography of Jamaicans. So what the opposition, and we know they infiltrate in the educational system very well. They know how to spin things and how to kind of murky the waters so the whole truth is totally different.
Yeah, but if I go into a rural area and there are obvious social issues arising out of the hurricane on the ground, and I say to the folks, well, the JPS, the government lend JPS the money. Harry, don't you think that a lot of people are going to believe that? They don't understand.
And they will never, because what they're looking is in terms of short term. So we have this thing where we want quick fixes and we want it now, right? Nobody's looking on longevity, on continuity, on sustainability, right? It's a culture of what is happening right through, mostly in the West.
I'm sorry, let me ask my listeners a question. Are there any of you listening to me now? 440
another almost 500 up there on the For You. Are there any of you listening now that don't understand why that you don't support the government lending JPS this money? Put it in the chat. You don't support it. Is there any of you listening? And I don't know if any person listening to me could come up and tell me you don't support it and why. Because when I heard the minister in Parliament, I said this makes perfect sense, Harry. But then there are going to be many people in Jamaica who, because of their personal individual situation, are going to feel somehow slighted by this act. You don't think we have a problem in Jamaica of just basic understanding of economics, Harry? Why do we blame it on politics only? There's a lot.
Neighbor, I've been crying out for a few things to be taught in our educational system, right? And two of them is money management and economics. Because to be truthful, and we can look at the math pass rate of things, CXC and so on, because you also need to understand fundamental aspects of math, right? Nothing too drastic, nothing too advanced. But we're struggling in that area naturally from what we're seeing. And as that goes on, if you don't take the initiative as an individual or see the reason to improve in that area, then there are certain things you automatically in life cannot discuss. And a lot of people clearly are very comfortable in doing that. And then one of the things also, neighbor, is that
this goes beyond politics. It goes to
definitely, neighbor.
Yes, in our society with understanding and literacy. Are you agreeing with me?
Definitely, neighbor. Definitely, 110%. Right? And the other part to it, in the neighbor, is that if I don't like you, everything you say is a lie. If you don't look like me, I'm not accepting what you're saying.
Cognitive biases.
Biases, right, neighbor. And the opposition feeds on that. We've seen it. Remember, I know Jamaica Labour Party is a white man party for decades, long before me and Scratchy Barn. And up to this day, it still stays relevant, despite the script has been flipped. So it shows the level of intellectual capacity for these people. And you can do a cross-examination of the opposition followers. And this is respectfully. You can put it to the test, neighbor, and I can bank my salary upon that it will come out the way I say it is. You look at the emotional intelligence, the critical thinking aspect. It's not where it's supposed to be.
Are you making a distinction between Labour Party supporters and PNP supporters? Is that what you're doing?
Definitely, neighbor. And again, I stand on that because
really,
why I put it in two aspects, intellectual capacity and emotional intelligence. For those persons who are followers of the Jamaica Labour Party, right? A lot of them are emotionally intelligent. So that is the person who, you ever hear them say a man can reason, but him not bright?
Yes.
You have that. You have emotional intelligence. And then you have the intellects who are there.
These are Labour
Those are persons who, neighbor, them put me as Labour right stance because apparently from when I speak on facts and the facts align with the government, you're automatically a Labour right.
Wow.
That is what it is. And if you and this is the flip side of it, if you find something to agree with the opposition on and give them credit for, you have an agenda against them. And that one of the things that is giving proof to why you said they have a low EQ.
Who said that?
Because I'm stating that, neighbor. Right? Because I went on a live last night and I explained why the hotels can't work. We've done it. I've had my very good friend came here and we crunch numbers and everything, right? So we know what it is. And for the life of me, neighbor, on that live, I don't know how much people did I listen, but none of the panelists understood. Everything was being emotional, how you feel about it. The fact is in front of you. Leave the emotions out of it. The truth is there. Accept it. Understand what it is. And so much that they listened to what was being said to respond and not understand. The neighbor, if I put the EQ test in front of them.
It is a matter of lessened intelligence versus cognitive biases. Cultism actually on the side of the comrades, where the party's agenda virtually skew their minds in a particular direction. They can't see the truth.
Yes, neighbor. And I have proof of that, living proof of that. I know a staunch, and this is PNP's stronghold area. This lady has been supporting the PNP from she was 16. She's been working with them from 18, and she's now 51 or 52. And even though she outright said it, she's tired, and she's seen some level of improvement in the last decade. Remember, you know, she's tired of doing the work for them, and she's seen improvement currently. But on election day, she not only go vote, she got to ensure she still do the work. Then neighbor, it has to be some level of cult with it, right? Because there's no way those two things add up to make sense. You've been at this for almost all your life. The current improvement you're seeing, you've never seen before. But you still will ensure you do everything to stop that growth. There has to be some level of hold, neighbor.
Yeah. Let me go back to Scratchy. Scratchy?
Yes, neighbor.
It's a difficult road that the government is treading, Harry. Here we have a society that is blaming, well, sections of the society, blaming the government for trying to help them, Scratchy, because wouldn't you agree with me, Scratchy, that putting the JPS back up helps the entire country in every single Jamaican, Scratchy? What is not what the government is doing?
I mean, definitely, neighbor, that's a proactive government, neighbor. A government who's foreseeing ahead, neighbor, instead of waiting on a deadline promised by the JPS of July and July. It is in the remit of the government, neighbor, to now go and meet with JPS and ask JPS, how can, as the government, what can I do to make sure that this timeline can be cut? And then the JPS now, neighbor, will go and meet with their whoever, and they come back and tell the government that, well, if I get $300 million, I could push it to look further, and the government might say, well, see, I start here 150 million. You need to make sure that it happens. That's a good government, neighbor. That's a government that cares, neighbor. That's a government with understanding. That's a government who want to see the country rise back. And we don't want to believe it or not, neighbor. This is Jamaicans people we are talking about. If the government put on back the roof them next week, neighbor, as the next 2 days, them start cost ball light now again. As so Jamaicans stay, neighbor. You can't please them. Can't please them. So the government have to just do what is in the best interest of all of us, neighbor, instead of trying to please individual persons' interest, neighbor. The government has to operate in a way that majority are in the best interest of all of us. And I support this move, neighbor. I wouldn't want to wait till I want to know that persons are without electricity. You know, I'll wait till July, and that can be cut till the minister say about February month in. That's wonderful, neighbor. I have no issue with that, and I have to agree with that. We have to push and believe in the government, neighbor. We have to believe that, neighbor, we elected these persons, neighbor, to make decisions on our behalf, and we must allow these persons, neighbor, to make decisions. The government, neighbor, have information that you and I are not privy to. The government understand they are the ones who are spending from the budget, neighbor. They know where they can make it up back and where they can lose that. We don't have those information. We don't know those intricacies, neighbor. So we must have trust and faith. It's 2 months ago we elect this government. So there's no way we can elect a government 2 months ago and now 2 months forward we're going to say we don't have no faith in them and we don't have no belief in them. That's madness. So that is why, neighbor, I know that whatever is being spewed out there about the government, it is political. It is coming from a desperate opposition, neighbor. It is coming from an opposition, neighbor, that all they can see is the remnants of COVID-19, where they got a 49-14 defeat in the general election based on the Prime Minister and the government by extension performance. They are worried, neighbor. They are concerned. And all they can see is politics in the middle of the disaster, neighbor. And we must also understand, neighbor, that The opposition, neighbor, they have the privilege to play politics, neighbor. The government cannot play politics. The government have to make sure that every single majority of Jamaicans come out of this way better than how they were after the disaster passed, neighbor. We cannot make persons' life worse off, and the government don't have that in mind. So persons must understand that what the approach being taken towards JPS is one that will benefit majority of Jamaicans. So if a single man are looking at it and say, yo, you don't like what go on or you don't like what go on, it is not in your single interest, sir or miss. It is in the best interest of Jamaicans and Jamaica by extension. We must allow the government, neighbor. I applaud Mr. Vaz, some ministers who have been working wonderful, neighbor, in the recovery. All of the agencies and ministries and agencies that fall under his portfolio, neighbor, they're moving at a speed that we can say, yes, based on their resources, neighbor, I'm pleased at this time. And giving JPS 150 million, neighbor, I don't see it as any issue. It is coming from the consolidated fund again, neighbor. The consolidated fund is basically like the government checking accounts, neighbor. That's where all the taxes and everything that the government collect goes. So if the consolidated fund can take $150 million out of it to lend the JPS, that also shows that the economy, neighbor, we are in a very strong position. And it's a loan, it's not a grant, it will be paid back over a 5-year period. So there's nothing to be worried about. There's nothing to be worried about.
So by the time you blink, JPS will have to start paying back that money, and it helps the government's cash flow. Let me tell you, actually, you're a brilliant communicator, you know, Scratchy. Scratchy, the unbiased Jamaican that is listening to you tonight, we're not talking about comrades here, because comrades are going to spin it in the interest of their party. The unbiased Jamaican that don't understand, Scratchy, listening to you, coming online, and he's hearing you speaking about this $150 million that was loaned to JPS, and his house has been demolished, destroyed even. How would you communicate that to him and let him understand that this is in his best interest?
Well, neighbor, definitely, neighbor, what I would our best, I would have to communicate when the person in the disaster here, neighbor, who might say, yes, I am here to receive any form of aid in terms of financial help or material-wise towards the redevelopment or rebuilding of my house. But yet, still, I see the Jamaica government can lend the JPS 150 million. Yeah, but what I would say to a person like that is just be understanding of the situation, just be understanding the importance of electricity, understand that your water that you're getting in your pipe, the reason why the water is not in the pipe right now is because the pumps cannot pump and it is run under electricity, neighbor. I would also say to that person, neighbor, the reason why you might cannot, even though you might be in a situation, the reason why you might cannot eat your favorite meal or whatever, neighbor, is as a result because the certain restaurants are still in here, or certain businesses, neighbor, have to close by a certain time. Yes, I would also explain to the person that in a time like this where we are getting nightfall much more earlier, neighbor, it would be urgent and a priority of the government to make sure that they get light. Because yes, neighbor, I not tell everybody say you must sleep out a door, neighbor, and I don't agree with that, neighbor. But I would say to a person that with light, neighbor, there is hope. And within the darkness, neighbor, it is much harder for a person to see their way around. Literally in every single way you can, neighbor. By 5:30, 6 o'clock, these persons have to be locking down. Despite, neighbor, you're in their distress and persons are in their stress, neighbor. If we have light in these communities, neighbor, despite my roof might not be working in a specific time, but light, neighbor, would kind of inspire me, neighbor, make me have some form of belief, neighbor, let me have some form of faith, neighbor, that yes, I can still move from point A to point B without being hindered because of electricity. So it's a lot, neighbor, we can say to these persons, neighbor, just understanding and whatever we just target these persons, neighbor, based on whatever their favorite things that they like and show that the reason why they cannot do their favorite activity, neighbor, is because you don't have no light. Light is important, neighbor. Light is very important, and with light there is hope. Let there be light, and there was light. That is what Andrew and his government is trying to do, neighbor. Let there be light.
He's bringing light, but you know, Scratchy, we also have to light up the minds of individuals, and I must tell you that the minds of many are darkened, Scratchy, at this time, darkened by ignorance and darkened by politics. Wow, it is a task to enlighten them, Scratchy. Not an easy task, you know.
I definitely, but it's definitely not an easy task, neighbor. But when we look at the education again, neighbor, education is a factor in this as well, neighbor, because if persons were educated to a certain extent, neighbor, Mark Golding and his goons couldn't be able to manipulate them, neighbor, no matter what. It's because of these persons' lack of education, neighbor, why the opposition party can come and take advantage of these persons' lack of education. And this is why, neighbor, I tell you that we don't want to see the opposition, they don't want to make sure that, neighbor, country advance in certain level. And our education level is one of those areas, neighbor, where we have seen the opposition hold us down, neighbor. I remember as a young man going to school, neighbor, chalkboards and neighbor, desks and chairs that were for school without furniture and stuff like that. And I know that this government has added more to the education value more than ever, neighbor. But an serious level, neighbor, our system in Jamaica in some serious revamping our education system, neighbor. I applaud every single steps that are being made right now by the government. And whatever, I don't blame this current government. I can't blame the current government, neighbor, for our education system right now. I have to blame governments from the 90s, neighbor. I think that's where most of Jamaica's social issues were born. Or if they weren't born, neighbor, they were magnified in the 90s, neighbor. They become norms, they become social norms, neighbor. From in the 90s, neighbor. Persons leaving school without education, persons leaving school can't read, persons being expelled from school, neighbor.
Yes.
All those things were morphed and magnified in the 90s, neighbor, under the People's National Party government through poor management of our education system. So we have to just understand, neighbor, that it's a slow boat and it's a slow process, neighbor. But I mean, we're moving, neighbor. 1 or 2 steps is better than none, neighbor. So I'm not pleased at where we are in terms of our educational level, neighbor. But I know that with this government, neighbor, we will definitely get there. And I would ask my government, neighbor, to look, don't just look at refurbishing the gates. Because when I visit Jamaica, neighbor, I see the whole of these schools have some nice, pretty gates, neighbor. I would say, don't just look at the gates, neighbor. I think the problem is in the classrooms, neighbor. That is where we are failing, neighbor. And persons are not understanding that these kids, neighbor, are coming from some distressed living condition, neighbor. We bring them coming to a classroom that is no different from where they are coming from. So it is very difficult for us to connect with these students, neighbor. I went to Jamaica, neighbor, and I went to my son's classroom, neighbor, and my son was in basic school, neighbor, and I couldn't believe it, neighbor. The classroom looked same like when I was in basic school. I didn't see much changes inside the classroom. It was the same fish cut out of the cardboard, the same ABC writing color chalk on one of the blackboards. So I was saying that I don't think that these kids, neighbor, it's not that they can't learn. I think, neighbor, I went to basic school about 1994, 95, neighbor. And this is 2025. I don't think that the same system that taught me, neighbor, should be teaching my son in this advanced time. I think that's where we are failing. I think we need to catch up, neighbor.
Give me a second, Scratch. Give me a second. Well, you know, you should be sending a gift. This is gifting free. Send a gift to Politics Plus using the TikTok app. Remember us over here on Politics Plus. Remember us. You'd never believe that politics is into this. You'd never believe it, But Scratchy scratched it off for us. And Harry, well, he told us. We're asking our listeners if you have questions for the panel. Do you have any question for Harry or Scratchy? Please, we're asking you either to type it in the chat or come up and ask the question. Do you understand what we're talking about? If you have questions for the panel, we want to take them now. Up until 10 o'clock. So that's 18 minutes of questions for Harry and Scratchy. Any question you want to ask them, they'll be prepared to answer. Lucky Dubé, one of Africa's finest, bouncing through with us until 10 o'clock. Remember me. We're taking roses tonight, you know. We're taking taps on roses, and we're looking forward for the whale. No fish. We don't want no fish. We want whale. We don't want no fish. Ralphie?
Dr. Ralph blown out of the park.
I think he's the lone opposition member sitting in the parliament.
Yes, he's a lone member, and I like that. I like that.
What a something.
I like that.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All right, we have a man online. Good night, sir. Hello, son of what? What's your name? Son of Brown? Son of Brown? Good night to you. Hello.
That's correct. How you doing?
I'm not bad at all. We have Harry and we have see, we got a whale here. We got a whale from the moderator. Oh
no, Rosalie neighbor. They call it name Rosalie, not whale. Rosalie.
He's a Rosalie. Oh my. Okay. I wonder if there are listeners here can send us some Rosalies tonight. We don't eat fish. Please remember that we don't yam fish. We don't yam fish. 3-piece of chicken, and it's a what? It's a what? Burger? You eat a burger? No man. When we go to Hell Shop, we get them steam. Fantastic. It's the 28th of November, 2025, and it's 16 minutes to 10 o'clock. Good night to you, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Harry's here and Scratchy.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I've been listening to the conversation. I would say
Yes.
start off. I don't agree with $150 million to JPS.
You don't agree with it?
I don't.
Okay. Now tell us why you don't agree with it.
Well, for one, I don't think it's a good investment. What's the rate and return for the country?
Hold on. Harry?
Yes, neighbor. I've been waiting for it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanna understand it because I'm open to
All right.
change
So
my mind.
first thing, so I'm gonna call you son, all right? Because I don't say the last name.
All right.
So I need you to tell us what you're ignorant on in terms of the information, or what do you know so far?
I mean, I don't think I'm ignorant. I just think I need to get the understanding of why everyone is supporting it.
No, so then you're actually ignorant on the basis.
Well, if you
Because remember,
think that-
ignorance is a lack of information, you know.
That's true. That is.
So I
true.
want to know, what do you know quickly?
Here's what I would say: edify me and why you think it's needed.
All right.
No, hold on.
I think
hold on,
you
Harry.
first, you
Hold
said
on,
why
hold
it's
on,
not.
hold on, Harry. Hold on. But sir, come on. You can't say that you don't support it, but you don't know why you don't support it.
I know why I don't support it.
Yeah,
I
tell
don't
us
think it's a good business decision. First, based on our share with JPS, I don't think loaning that amount of money is a wise business decision. Secondly, I don't agree with us loaning that amount of money to JPS when we are getting ready to the point where we're going to open up the market to other individuals. It's only going to tie us down to extending that contract. And if you tie us down to extend that contract, what is going to happen? You're not going to have that competition for the people where the prices are going to be lower. You have seen that situation with Flow and Digital.
How will the money tie us down? How will the money tie us more in the contract?
Say that again.
All right. Currently, the JPS is saying that if they don't have this money, it is possible that they might have to ask for a 15-year extension of the contract. So how will the government giving them the money now is gonna tie them to the contract?
Do they need a 15-year extension of the contract, or do they need money to get up and running? That's the question.
They need money.
Exactly. They don't need an extension of the contract.
So that's why the government loaned them 150 million.
No, but they're they're an entity that can go there and get money. How long
Not on the
has
current.
been operating? How many money have they?
Not on the current contract, sir.
Say that again.
The contract for JPS expires in 2027.
Okay.
So for them to get money in the market, they need a contract. You understand?
And they're currently under negotiation, so they can't go to the market.
So you're telling me that even though the contract is expiring, they're not taking any steps to at least shore up their future if another company should come into the country?
Based on the condition of the contract that he just explained, you're currently within 2 years, and you're currently about to start a negotiation. So it wouldn't be wise to go to the market. Who's going to buy those? Who's going to go to the market? It would be wise to go to the market at a time like that.
at the end of the day, it's not
No,
about.
hold on. Let me ask you a question first. You see, government has a responsibility. Government is not a private entity. Government is not a private company. Government has a responsibility. And so that the responsibility of government is to make sure that whatever distress its citizens are in, it is government who is supposed to come up with a decision and make sure that they remedy that whatever distress this majority of the citizens are going through. So with a caring government like what we have now, with a light and power company who come and tell you, say, sir, I won't be able to fully bring back light until July, Mr. Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister is going to say to him, as a caring government, what can I as the government do to make sure that you can cut that time from July to a closer time? JPS say, yes, we need funding, we need more extra trucks, we need more extra linemen to come in and work, we need to source more equipment on a more timely manner in our emergency manner.
Let me ask you a question. I don't mean to cut you. The JPS, they have been operating for so many years. Where is their profit? I understand.
All right, Scratchy, this is on my part.
I understand that they might need additional money, but the question is, where is their profit?
All right, understand this.
Hold on. Here's the thing that worries me. The thing that worries me is that we give this money to the JPS, right? And then
we're not giving no money to them, sir. We're loaning them, not giving. Loan. So
however you want to term it.
No, sir. It's not however, sir.
No, hold on. Don't say however you want to term it, sir. You're not giving the JPS any money. It is a loan. Say loan. Don't say how you.
All right.
How you terms it. It's a loan.
Okay, it is a loan. Okay, we are loaning them this money, right? What is going to be the return on investment for us? Have they?
The return on investment is modernization will be done to the grid, and persons will get back electricity within a timely manner to bring back the economy on a stronger foot.
But is it a sound business decision for the country? I understand from a moral perspective, right?
Sir, I just explain how business operates here, sir. Stop talking about is it a more sound business opportunity. The government is not a private entity. The government is not here about business. Government is the biggest social entity in the country.
Let me ask you,
listen, sir.
But is this the business of government?
No, sir. No. Listen to Scratchy. Listen to him. Listen to Scratchy, sir. Go ahead, Scratchy.
Let me hear you, Scratchy.
Sir, government is not a privately run entity or a privately run business. Government is not on stock exchange seeking equity or seeking any form of that. Government has the biggest responsibility when it comes to any form of social things that needed in Jamaica. JPS is our grid, is our number one electricity company. We do have a next one. Our economy is currently down. We need our bringing back JPS current right now is a key priority to bringing up back the country economy. Whatever government have to do, listen, sir, it is government responsibility no matter what. Without them want me to earn a profit or not. The greatest thing, the money is not being given to JPS, who they say I make money as a grant. It is being given to them as a loan. And with nothing wrong if we can give a company in our country who need it a loan. That is government responsibility to bail out companies when they are in trouble. That is government responsibility. Fine. Sir, we must understand. Listen, sir, again, we must understand, sir, that JPS infrastructure was damaged beyond whatever they can do. And we must understand that. We must understand that. Must understand that, sir. So don't just come and say you don't agree with it because it is not. You look at it as a private person, as a business person. You can't look at it like that. Look at it from a government standpoint.
Let's scratch it. Let me ask you a question. Is that the best use of the money at this time?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Because one, persons will be get back electricity within a timely manner from July to February. Big cut. I definitely applaud that. July compared to February, 150 million US for that. I have no problem with that. So getting back that money, I have no problem with that. Two, there will be improvement to the grid, cleaner energy, more resilient grid. I don't have a problem with that. Why you don't agree with it?
No, it's not that I don't agree with it, though. I just don't agree with the business decision of it. I agree with the money.
You just say it's a business decision, and he's telling you that you can't look at it. That is a government, so the government is not doing any business.
So let me. Isn't giving a loan a business?
Scratchy, go ahead, please.
Sir,
I think you missed the point he's making, though, sir. That the government cannot shrink from its responsibility to the people of Jamaica at this time. And one of the responsibilities that the government has is to ensure that the people get back light.
That is true, and I do agree with the perspective
People
from
get
the
back
business.
light, sir. Hold on, but the people get back light. But light, sir, has a multiplier effect. It is that it stimulates the economy, small businesses, so that the very people in getting back their electricity, sir, can bring their lives back up. They can't do it without the light. And the Jamaica Public Service is not able to do it within the time frame that the government wants to get these people back up on their feet, sir. Schools, hospitals, clinics, hotels need light.
I agree with you with the perspective when you think of it
Water
from.
pump, sir. You know that the water in Westmoreland needs light to pump it.
I understand that. I agree with getting the light up for like infrastructure and stuff like that, hospitals, all the businesses that need to keep the country running, keep the economy turning. But at the same time, I think that the amount that is being given to the JPS, I think
not given, sir, not given.
I know what you said.
It does
Loan
not
given.
matter the amount. Listen to me, sir. It no matter the amount. Hear this. It's not cost purposes, sir. It's not that the government, in giving 150, is unable to carry out its responsibility. The government is not shirking from its responsibility to the people, and it will in no way hinder what the government is able to do. By giving JPS 150, sir, it does not mean that the zinc on the board and the container houses will be any less, will take any less time. It is part of the recovery process. Hospitals can't run off a generator. Schools and hotels need the light.
And I agree with that. What I would love to see, but you know what I would love to see? I would love to see our country where all of these institutions, especially the schools, we have solar powered on top. But the question that I have for you, right?
Let me ask you a question. You've been asking a lot. What if you have a vehicle, sir? You
Yes.
you run taxi with,
Okay.
and it crash.
Okay.
And the insurance money that you have for the car is $250,000.
Okay.
And the insurance company money can't take care of the car so that you can get it back up on the road. And the insurance company said to you, say, they will loan you 100 grand. Wouldn't you take it?
I would. But here's what I would say: if it's going to fix the car. Now the question that I have, here's the question that I want to ask you, right? Yes, the government is giving 150, right? What about the other remainder that the JPS needs? What's going to happen?
All right, Harry's going to answer that. Let Harry.
Let me butt in here, neighbor. Because Son of Brown seems to agree with everything but disagree with everything at the same time.
I have my preference.
Now the government is loaning 150 million, so the work don't stop. Okay? Now while the JPS seeks the other 150 that it's need, it have 150 to continue the work. It's the other choice is that they stop and wait until they get the 350, which will push the restoration of power to June next year. That is the bigger picture, my boss. It can be if I'm but now, baby. It is the government saying to the JPS, we need you to do the work, but you will not use this storm to force us into a contract extension.
As long as that's not going to happen, because I would love to see JPS get competition.
Then have you been following the news or you just following the propaganda?
Both of them.
That JPS
the truth is in both of them.
No, JPS requested of the government that because we have this big work now, give us a contract extension so we can go at the market and look at loan. The government said no, come hell or high waters, and high waters did come. We are going to renegotiate the contract come 2027.
Okay.
If money are your problem, see money go and work. It is simple. It is, and by the way, Jamaica is not the first place to have done this. The great United States of America have done this before. When a couple years ago, when they have one of the worst blizzard in Texas history, the government had to lend to the power company down their money to rebuild them thing. So it's not the first. It happens in Japan. Everybody who does this, when the needs be, the government have to step in and step up. Why should you expect any less of the Jamaica government?
It's not that I expect less enough. I just want to make sure that when we give this money, we have a return on invest. We're not just loaning $150 million. What is the interest rate? What is going to go back to the government? Because we're not just
All right, son of Brown. Hold on, Chuck. Son of Brown. The rate is currently being discussed, right? Now understand this. This is a risk-free investment. Scratchy, Neighbor, and Chuck give the social aspect of it and the economic aspect of it. I'm going to bring the business side of it to you. Right?
And I want to understand what you mean by risk-free as well, investment.
If JPS, so they have 5 years to repay, and they have a mandatory, if they want to take it up, they can pay it back in 2 years before they go through with the contract extension. So it's not that they won't get a contract. It's going to be new terms and agreement for people of Jamaica, right? And also, rather than getting 15 years to have their foot on the throats of Jamaican people, they'll only have 10 years with very much and significantly better terms for the people, including an increased grid. I don't know if you missed it, but JPS infrastructure only can handle a category 3. They've stated it. You can fact check me.
I've seen it.
Right? And based on what we know, strongest weather systems are coming and more frequent at that. Now, in terms of the business aspect of it, if JPS defaults on the payment for this, we acquire assets. Now, the government has this thing that they're doing, divesting. Government have a lot of assets. The current administration has been divesting. They've done so with the NROC shares in Trans-Jamaica Highway. I won't give you much information on that. You can look it up yourself. But the government made well over 10 times what they would have put in on that Trans-Jamaica deal, right? Including the additional public they did earlier this year. Now, if JPS fails, being a listed company, if they fail and we acquire those shares, we can now put it back to the market and not just get back our 150 million, but we can 5, 6, 7, up to 10 times that based on the agreement when they're coming to the market. So it's a risk-free because we can acquire assets, whether that may be whatever infrastructure they have or shares. And a lot of persons running with the shares aspect, profitable, and that's fine. But that's what makes it sense. Now, I did a number. I calculated it at the policy rate. Neighbor, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the policy rate is now 5.65%. All right. With that, the government would actually get back roughly about 1.8 or 1.2 billion. I'll put the number in the chat because I did it earlier today. I spent the whole day this today while working, right? That is good business sense. You're getting back the money. The interest you're getting back as well, whether that may be quarterly, semi-annually, yearly, can actually go towards any debt we have, and or in more importantly, help us with the infrastructure.
Yeah,
Outside of utilities, we can do roads, we can 5.5. Right? Now, if you
I think they're gonna get it less than that.
Son of Brown. Yeah, man, but I just giving based on market conditions, Scratchy.
I mean, so far you have me, Harry. I'm listening. You know, but the problem are the
no. So you tell me based on what I shared. No, hold on, Son of Brown, hold on. Based on what I shared, isn't that shrewd business? Isn't that how you get good return on investment? Yes or no?
I mean, that's a good business decision. I mean, there's always risk involved.
So in leave the live tonight, you have all the clarity that you came on to seek.
Okay. No, not
Yes or
all,
no?
not all. There's There's one question
That's
that I
all.
do.
Well, what is it you want us to clear up? We can clear it up.
What I want to understand is like, so we're giving 150, right? Well, for the lack of a better word, sorry, scratch it.
We're loaning, yes, we're loaning.
Loaning 150, right? We understand that the JPS is going to need more. Is there a preference in terms of where they are going to focus their effort to get back online, or where are we going to see the shortcomings?
So the shortcomings won't be on the government's end. I can tell you that. Guarantee that.
It will be in the
what
field.
happens is that. No, so what happens now is that this 150 million is also a lifeline for JPS. And I'm going to tell you why. 2 years is not enough to go to market or even go to any financial institution. No institution is going to take the risk. And if they're taking the risk, right, JPS may not be able to commit to the interest rate that that financial institution will charge. I can tell you that. Now, with the 150 million, JPS continues operation. They get better systems up and running, which, again, Scratchy, Neighbor, and Chuck told you how that benefits the country. Now, when JPS goes into contract talks, with the government, they can then, after signing the agreement, because it's not a case where JPS is going to up and leave Jamaica. It's a monopoly right now. So even if we're getting another utility company, they will need time. And we now going to make JPS take electricity by not giving them an agreement and leave the people in darkness and crush our economy. Right? So either way, we're actually going to the table with a stronger position than we ever had before, since it has been sold. Now, when JPS signs that agreement, which they will, they can now come to market, whether they want to go to a financial institution again and or they want to offer more preference share, because currently on the JSE, Jamaica Stock Exchange, they have, if memory serves me well, about 5 to 7 preference shares, ranging from 5% up to 9.5%. You can check it out. And that gives you an idea as to where they can get the money. And they've been for the last 4 years. Also over the last 4 years, I'm in the market, so I know anything I tell you right now about the market. You can never take it with a grain of salt. Run with it. All right? I know for the last 4 years, they've been toying with the market to say they're coming to market. They're structuring a deal to get more funds, whether that is a preference share, ordinary share, whatever it may be. So we know where JPS can get the money. It's just that they don't have the time to do so. And something else you can also look up. JPS has technically 3 major stakeholders. Jamaica have 19%. KEWP, which is Korean East-West, I don't remember what the P stands for. The Korean company. And Marubeni. Marubeni is Japanese. The other company is Korean and then Jamaica. And then 1% splits between other investors. Marubeni, and it's public information. There's an issue because Marubeni is not sure if they want to stay as owners of JPS. Now you can't go to no market with the second highest shareholder being uncertain, and that has to be cleared up. So I hope this gives you the clarity.
Hey, that's all I need.
Fly over son of Brownie, man.
Are you okay now?
Son of Brownie.
Harry,
all this
respect.
information.
Harry, respect.
So let me ask you now, son of Brown.
Yeah.
What is your stance on the government lending JPS this money?
I mean, I'm a little bit more favored, you know.
A little bit.
I have to be honest. I'm a little bit more favored. I'm a Jamaican, and I've seen from past dealings how government are when it comes to funds. So I am a little bit more favorable. You know, I'll take it with a grain of salt. But I do tell you one thing. In the comment, they might be referring to me as a comrade or whatever. That's fine. But I'll tell you, the one thing I can tell you, I do like what Andrew is doing, right? It's gonna take someone younger than him to unseat him though, but I do like what he's doing. That's
You
all.
want to see man seated?
I mean, Jamaica is always up for a change.
I said, so if things are going good, you still want to see a change?
Jamaica is always up for a change.
Jamaica alone and the Jamaica alone of election. So the world is
Jamaica.
always up for a change. Then.
Jamaica alone me represent.
And I hope you understand now, okay, son of Brown?
Yeah. But he's
The next
doing
time you
good.
hear somebody talk
I
about
would say
correct
that
them.
he's doing good. Say that again.
I said the next time you hear someone talking bad about the deal, they have information now, can correct them.
What do you mean?
Like if someone say that they don't agree with the deal, now you have information, can enlighten them more so that they get a better understanding, just like how you get a better understanding.
I mean, I get some understanding on it. It allows me to do further research.
Yeah.
So I can have a better conversation and understand what's going on. But at the end of the day, I want to see Jamaica do good. I don't want to see Jamaica dwell in a part where the country is not developing, and at the same time, the people need to feel the development because that's what the government is there for.
And the country can't develop, son of Brown, with 900,000 people out of light.
I don't light alone, Father. I don't light alone.
They play a key part, though.
It is, but it's not the only part.
You know, son of Brown, I was part of a conversation last night with Mr. Morgan, the Minister of Works in the government. And I mean, I'm sure if you were there, it would have opened your eyes to a lot of things. Because some of us will come on social media and we speak out of emotions and not facts. Because you don't understand. And one of the things that Melissa exposed to many people in this country, when the people are boss of the government must run in go build back house. The question was posed, do you know the percentage of people that lost their house, that didn't own the land that the house was on?
It's a lot of dilemma, but at the end of the day, the government alone cannot do it.
No, but it's the government that must figure it out, and they are figuring it out. They just can't do it like them crazy. It's just something that them have to work it out, say how do we fix this and how do we fix that, and that's what they are doing, right? So the government is in a spot where it can't act like a chicken without head. It have to be calculated and careful, because guess what? The same person them we are asked for expediency are the same people them are going to call the government criminal next week. The same people. Remember, neighbor, I don't know if you know it last week. But hold on, son of bro. Neighbor, I don't know if you know it last week that the same people them we are telling the government say them take too long to give the food them. When they sat in the PAC last week, they were asking the government how many bottles of water you give out. How many bottles of water you give out, neighbor. So the same people them where I say run go give it way. I tell you, say no, we want no. And if you can't answer that, a thief, you thiefy. That's all people are going by no, so they couldn't answer how much water they give away. But nobody no remember, so the same people them did that tell the government say run go give it way fast because people need it. So we have to consider those things. We can't have the discussion out of emotions. We have to have it out of facts. Facts have to be with friend in this time.
That's true. That's true.
Son of Brown?
Yes.
Hold on a little. One of my callers want to ask you a question. Let me ask my moderator to put him up. Joshua. Joshua wants to speak with you a little bit, sir. Just hold on for me, sir.
All right, no worries.
And
thank you guys for having me on the live. I'm always wanting to discuss and make sure we develop Jamaica, because that's our land, that's our home. We have to take care of it. That's the best piece of land in the world.
Neighbor, I see as if somebody saying Son of Brown should ask us if JPS have insurance. So let me address it before Joshua comes up, right? So in essence, JPS actually have what we call a self-insurance fund, right? It's an EDF, Electricity Disaster Fund. they have this actually because they to cover electricity transmission and distribution assets, right? Now, the fund technically was created because based on the cost of market-based insurance, it's too high, so no one will insure them on those things. So what they do now is with this EDF, Electricity Disaster Fund, they put it as a surcharge on the bills of us as the paying clients, right? Now, this is also one of the reasons why JPS said, hey, give me the contract so we can recover and recoup this money. They were trying to activate this EDF, which is even more important why we had to give them the 150 million. So yes, JPS have a gimmicks of insurance because it really is that which put Jamaican people at a disadvantage. And that's one of the things we've also taken off the table. So I hope that answers the question and give even more clarity.
Ari, that's one of the reasons, Ari, why the government want to change the terms of the contract, because in one part of the contract as well, Ari, if a
And that was
JPS
activated in Ivan. That was activated in Ivan.
yes, you're right. So
Even after
in a-
Ivan too, they did it in 2012. I don't remember which hurricane was 2012. But they did it as well, which is why when people say well, bill go high and it go up, this is the reason why. That is JPS insurance, but they don't say it.
And one of the main thing, Ari, are the insurance clause are one of the main thing with the government have a problem with the JPS contract, because the contract, even though it's an insurance clause, it only benefit JPS, because if a JPS pole should drop on your property, Ari, you have nothing to get. But JPS can claim back for them pole. So that's one of the things with the government has said it's madness. The contract can't be like that, where it's only JPS that benefit from the insurance part of the contract. And if the pole drop on my building, I have nothing to get. Only JPS can claim on their own contract. So they really need to change up. Definitely have. Well, I think we're past the stage right now. We're 15-year extension there. No. So I have no problem to go with them the money. Lend them the money, Prime Minister. No problem.
Greetings, everyone.
Go ahead, Joshua. Nice man. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Greetings, neighbor. Greetings to your panelists and everyone else. Son of Brown, I've been listening for a while, and I want to commend you first of all for your curiosity and your openness to listening and to having the discussion. I heard you in a tongue-in-cheek way about development and prosperity and how everyone should benefit, while commending the government simultaneously. And so I'm a little bit not sure as to whether or not you are just speaking generally to say if prosperity or development is happening, then it should be across the board, or that you are saying, hey, while it is happening, people are not necessarily feeling it. I want to hear, because I want to engage you on that.
Okay. Well, in terms of that comment, it was more along the lines of I want to see like the prosperity trickle down to the people, right? I can tell you, like, case in point, I've been coming to like Jamaica for the last few years, and I can tell you for the last few years, Jamaica feel like foreign, and foreign feel like Jamaica. You see what I'm saying? So I want to see that development trickle down to the people. Now, even in this time of billing back, if we can even get to the point, I know everything is done on a voluntary basis right now, to even like contract the local guys who are like in construction or whatever role they play in the community to help them develop the local economy. You know, I mean, I can only do my part. I'm going down there to try and see how best I can help my community and surrounding areas. But what I really want to see is the economy trickle down to the local guys. They can develop themselves, develop their families, and even get to the point where they understand where they can start some sort of generational wealth, develop the community, make Jamaica better.
All right. So what you have said is true, that if there is wealth creation or if the economy is growing, people should really benefit. However, Oftentimes I've heard this narrative. By the way, it's not everything that is going to be voluntary, because the Prime Minister did say that there will be something in it. Maybe not a large amount, but there will be something in it in terms of some remuneration for those who will be assisting in the process. In every community, it's anywhere from 100 to 200 persons who will be chosen, and they will get something in their pocket. The Prime Minister did say that in Parliament, right? So we have to keep that in mind. But the rest is largely voluntary after somewhere in between. Now, I've heard persons posited the point for many years that wealth is, the country is growing, the economy is growing, or so the government says, but people are not necessarily feeling it. And I want to challenge that notion, because it's either direct misinformation on the part of some persons, or a lack of understanding as to how economies work, generally speaking, right? Because in the case of this economy under Andrew Holness, the first thing that a government has to do, when a new administration has to do when they come in, is to stabilize the economy. When you have a floundering economy, you have to stabilize that which was floundering, to stop it, to hemorrhage the loss. Then after that, then you start setting the policy framework, right? And having set the policy framework, then you start to build. Having built by, and part of the building process is to start inviting investors, let the climate be conducive to investment and all of those things. When investors come in, the first thing that is going to happen is that job creation is going to take place, right? That in and of itself is the beginning of the trickle-down effect. And people may say, how? Because when people are working, once you start the building, they are a part of the initial process of building. And so if a man is working and he's earning for himself, then by working for yourself, you are getting something out of that growth immediately. Albeit we may argue whether it's minimal or not, but construction workers do not get minimum wage. And even if it's minimum wage, when we compare it to the United States, it is no different from the United States. When we compare it to Canada, it is no different from Canada. And I want to submit to persons that Jamaica fares better as a percentage of your earning that you use versus the United States. When you look at minimum wage to minimum wage, right? So when you look at your overall earning, what percentage of that dollar that you use for the same thing versus in Jamaica, what percentage of dollar that you use for the same thing, so having done that now, and as part of the building, the construction of new entities, new industries, and all of those things, people are benefiting right away. Now, after that, once the economy starts growing and expanding even further, again, we start earning on ourselves. And that is why you realize that more taxes, you start collecting more taxes, and then it starts pumping into the economy and generating new businesses, not just new businesses, but in terms of the fixing of things and providing of new amenities and all of those things. I think it's not that people don't earn in Jamaica. One of the major problems that we have in Jamaica is that persons tend to spend more than what we earn. And it's not because we can't save. We like to live above our means, because I know this to be true from as early as in the 90s, right? I've often given this story when I used to work for $158 per week for my salary. And there were guys that was working for the same company that I was working for. And these guys used to trust oxtail and curry goat every single day that God sent, right? And when I decided that I am not going to do the same thing, I used to buy 3 cans of sardine and 6 rolls and eat 2 every day, drink it with water and eat 2 cooked food for the week. And them used to laugh at me. I said, boy, Lord, you're mean to your body. And all of those things. And every perfume lady that came in, people used to trust from them because they want to be in the mix. And yet Friday and Saturday night, I'm gonna dance and laugh after me. Years later, those guys were in the same position that we were in initially, right? And I moved past them. And then those same guys were the same ones who said to me, boy, them always know that I would have made it. No, you never know, or else you wouldn't have laughed at me. Right? And so I submit to you that it's not that people cannot benefit from the prosperity and the wealth of a country that's growing. It's that people have to make sensible choices for their own development. You know, you find out a man who sometimes can sacrifice and go to school. And if he has a choice between going to school and going to a dance, guess which one he might choose? The one that's easier. Dance. And you grew up in Jamaica, based on what you have said, you know that to be true.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Not true.
I mean, I do agree with you. I think that there are two issues that I really see down there in Jamaica that I would love to see change. Number one, I would love to see like a greater focus on the development of small business. I know the government is doing that already, but like something more that allows a lot more small business to develop, you know, where they can also employ individuals. Secondly, we have too much dependence on the government. We look to the government for everything, and that's a problem that I have. You know, I think that we need to change that mindset where we can develop ourselves, because we're sort of like in a mindset where we will focus on this whole double two lifestyle. If you change, like in America, look at it. Even though people come here, right, it's all about skill. If you don't have the skill, guess what? You're stuck being a better slave, a better employee, however you want to put it. You have that skill, you can create a business, you can employ someone, and you can develop. That's the mindset that needs to be in Jamaica. That's the mindset that needs to develop the country to take it forward.
America
But
more bomb.
son of Brown.
America full of bomb.
Well, Scratchy, let me add this, Son of Brown. But Son of Brown, the last couple of years, the government has gone way above and beyond in making skills training available to the people. Not just free, but the government is now literally paying people, Son of Brown,
Which is a good move.
skill.
That's a good move.
So the government is taking all the necessary steps. It's just that the people
not doing their part.
Not doing their part. So you said earlier that people are way too dependent on the government. Even in this disaster, there are people sitting down believing that the government is gonna come and build back one house today. Because most people are trained to believe that it is the government, the government will do everything for you.
Which is not the way.
Which is not the way. So recently the government said those people who can start to build them house should start. And it is a big topic online how the government now help nobody. I mean, you have people on here, and that's why I agree with Joshua that says we appreciate you. You may not agree with us, but you're here for the discussion, so you can learn and try to teach also.
I always walk with an open mind.
That's the worst person you can meet is somebody with their mind closed. Worst person. Close. If you close, you can't let in and you can't let out. Right. So the government is doing its part because the government believes that the human capital is the most important thing that Jamaica possesses. So the government is giving out more scholarships than ever to go to school. And not only that, for those who don't make it to university, they are making skills training free.
But you know what I would think though, I don't mean to put like even the ones that goes to university, right? We need to emphasize to everyone that goes to university, do not stop at a degree, because a degree only makes you a better employee. Get to the point where you get a skill, set up shop, as with the artists say, you know, and employ, and that's how the country are gonna develop.
Funny you should mention that. Funny you should mention that. Because noting that is why the government now is going to start implementing the hard programs from as early as high school. So when you graduate high school, not only are you going to have 10 subjects, but you're going to have a skill also. Not just that too. The government, in pushing entrepreneurial spirit, has a program that once you go to Hart and you get your degree from Hart, they will assist you in setting up a business.
That's good.
There's a lot of things going on out here, and people now need to grow some ambition.
Hey, there's no better way to say it.
So, son of own, there's a thing that the opposition does, which I call the politics of expediency. Right? This is my term of reference. What the opposition does, instead of working hand in hand with the government for the greater good of the nation, what the opposition has sought to do is live up too much to the name opposition. Every single thing that the government puts on the table, the opposition opposes it. And then the opposition has sought to plant in the psyche of the population that victim mindset. Right? So instead of helping the people to realize that, hey, I can do better than my circumstances now, here are the opportunities. What the opposition has done, and they have employed, literally and otherwise, minions to go out there and beat back on the policies of the government and says it cannot work, right? When in truth and in fact, these are things that are there to benefit the people and to plant seeds of doubt in their mind, both in terms of their own capabilities and the potency of the policies that have been put out there to help them, right? So people are the perpetual victims in their mind, right? And one of the things, I think it's enslavement, psychological enslavement that the PNP is practicing, because if people free themselves from that, then they cannot be controlled. And there's a subsector that the PNP is going to lose as a result of that. But when they come out and give people that, listen to me, you are victims and we are your champions, then they keep them loyal to them, right? So that is one of the things that is holding back the advancement of these people. Now, Chuck mentioned about the skills.
Hold on there, Joshua. Quick thing. Guys, it's a riveting discussion. I mean, you get this content nowhere else. So just look in the chat. Caroline, sorry. We're asking for 8 people to donate $20. You can find the Zelle and the Cash App in the comment section. So guys, we need to continue this. So it really don't come free to get these riveting discussions, to get this interaction, and really and truly to put valuable information out there. So 8 people can commit, can reach out to Caroline. The details are also in the tract, as young people say nowadays. So just do the right thing.
In the tract. Right. Yes. So as I was saying, Chuck mentioned about the skill. Now, I also have a new term for that, because this is how you build what I consider a rounded economy, wherein persons come with their academic, academic training, right? But also the practical hands-on skills training. And when a government has set aside 150,000 free places every single year for people to get training and to provide nearly $70,000 free of cost in their pocket every single day, 5 days a week, to say, hey, go on out, go learn something. And then when you're done, you get an associate degree for up to level 4 and up to level 5. You get a first degree in your hand. After the government said you no longer have to pay a tuition to do this, as was the case in the past. You're now going up to level 5, where you get a first degree in your hand. You're getting nearly $70,000 every single month in your hand just to do this. And guess what? When you're done, if you are not a ward of the state, here it is, $50,000 towards the purchase of your first tool. And if you're a ward of the state, if you grew up in government facilities, $75,000 for you. And if you want to start a business, $250,000 free of cost to you to start your business. It can't really go far, but it go farther than if you had got nothing. That's a government that's investing in its human capital to ensure that people can have a start and no longer feel as if, boy, there's no hope for me. Right? That's a government who is ensuring that it positions not just the economy for takeoff, but the workforce to be able to participate in whichever direction the economy is going. Also,
Joshua, as you got there, let me mention one of the most important initiatives that was started by this government. When we talk about transforming people life, the government started a program, son, that was called the Jamaica Hope for 60 Trust Fund. Now, we have whole heap of kids that grow up as ward of the state, and when them touch 18, people kick them out. Come out, you're on your own, you're 18 or you're a big man, you're gone, and you have nothing to start life with. Now, the government has started a program that says if you're a ward of the state, or you grow up and you attend school and the PART program, there is a trust fund that is started, and if you are born after independence 2022 on your 18th birthday, you are eligible for at least a $800,000 cash grant to either, and if free for all, start a business, buy a house, or further your education. Start a business, buy a house, or further your education. Any one of those three things. Tell me you don't have a government that is thinking. No, 2022, not 1962. 2022, sorry. That's when it started, not 1962.
But Chuck,
Those are the programs that we have.
Chuck, you're leaving out two, who finally have a pension fund and pension scheme for tourism workers. Plus, we're looking to also establish the pension for farmers.
There you go. Right. And
we also have again, Chuck. We have a pension plan for our entertainers. No longer artists they don't can't find money to bury themselves and them family. Family can't bury artists. We have pension program in
pension plan for them. We have a pension plan for people that has never contributed anything to the government for the first time. If you grow old and you never get to contribute a thing for the first time, there's a pension plan for you, social pension. Thank you, Roxanne.
Good evening.
Protecting, big up yourself.
Bless upon yourself, brothers. Good evening, neighbor.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break because what we're about to embark on here is going to take us some time. Let's take a break. Let's take a break. Single pie, boy, I tell you. You run up into it. You run up into it. Well, thank you so much for staying with us. It's 24 minutes to 11 o'clock. And the guys have been going at it for almost 3 hours. And so, from the moderating end, something needs to flow into the bank. Something needs to flow into the bank. By the way, the listeners have absolutely been fantastic on the other side. But let's get on up to 11 o'clock. And so we're asking a couple of our listeners, how many Caroline, to jump in with a donation for tonight's program. All right. Son of God. Is Son of God or Son of Brown? Son of Brown.
Son of Brown, right here.
You're getting school, sir. You're at class, eh?
Always home to learn,
Yeah, well, Professor Protecting Jamaica is going to be on the floor, so let's listen to him. Good evening, Professor Protecting.
Good evening, neighbor, and I mean that title. I don't know why you make too much butterfly flyer.
Professor of political history. Yes.
Yeah. So as I was saying, good night, everybody, and even your listening audience.
Yes,
Son of Brown. Good night, sir. I sat and I listened.
How you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. I sat and I listened, and I was wondering. I mean, I joined the conversation late, but I was wondering, where you were going. But as I listened, I realized that you're just a person who cares about Jamaica, and you want to make sure that the right things are done. And the more I listened, is the more I learned that you, having learned the ills of the past, you are very careful, just like many of us, how Jamaica moves forward, especially in this kind of situation that we are now in. Am I right, son of Brown?
I would say to a degree. I mean, apart from the book knowledge, that stretches all the way back to the 60s, I would say to a degree.
Okay. And but I want to ask you a question before I proceed. You're not in Jamaica now. How long ago you left Jamaica?
2003, I would say. But I came back every year. I was in Jamaica August. I was in Jamaica 1 week before the hurricane. And I'm coming back in 2 weeks to help out my community and develop and see what I can do.
Okay. So you have a genuine love for Jamaica.
I was born in a shop, to put it the best way.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. No, you see, I am one such person, just like every member of the panel, and some of those who are listening. We care so much about Jamaica. Myself care so much about Jamaica that I have taken up this mission, and I'm on this mad mission that I'm protecting Jamaica from the PNP. Now, I understand all the questions you ask. And they are fair questions, especially the ones about JPS and the others. But you know what? Just as Chuck and Joshua, Scratchy before, and Harry was trying to put what is happening in Jamaica into perspective to you. And I know that you're a fair-minded person. And I know that you understand. And I know that in your deepest of concern, it is just what is best for Jamaica that you want. Now, Mr. Brown, our son of Brown, all that Chuck and Joshua just listed out to you, the current government is making strides, great strides too. And that is the reason why the respect that is coming to Jamaica now from all these other countries, the admiration that is coming to Jamaica from all these, what them refer to as first world countries, is coming. But we have to put some historical context to the fear you have, which is the same fear almost all of us have. Jamaica spent a long time in a bad place. And in the background of all of this was one famous person who now is the leader of one of Jamaica's two main political parties. And it hurts me to believe, like you, that Jamaica can be great. But when I remember where Jamaica coming from and how Jamaica got to that point, it grieved my heart. And yes, I believe, just like Chuck, Joshua, Scratchy, Neighbor, and Harry, that we can get there, my brother. And I am glad that you have a genuine love and care for Jamaica. As it relates to the JPS, no private business of that magnitude goes into their profits to use it as working capital, my brother. Them go to the capital market. The profit are the profit, and what is paid out to the shareholders and what go in our account, put on. Large businesses like those always go to the capital market to raise funds. As it relates to the strides Jamaica is making, we are making strides. Now, currently, because we were so far behind, look like, say, not Nagwan, but the stuff them we chuck name out, a whole heap of things are going. But you have to understand, to my brother, say, we were way down in the bottom of the pile. We were referred to as a basket case of the Caribbean. One famous Caribbean leader said, Jamaica keep coming to them like them at ATM. There were times when one little flood happened in Jamaica, and man have to jump on plane, him have to wait till the water subside and the breeze stop blow, if you jump on a plane, if you go to Washington, go all out to an offering plate and beg some money. There were those days. Currently, the Prime Minister just made us know the government has been spending from our taxpayers' dollar since Melissa over a month ago or just a month ago. I'll know we not touch it cat ban money. I'll know we not touch the other insurance. They're setting up the bodies to start spending those
I will
money.
not touch the donation them yet.
And we not touch the donation them yet, my brother. That is telling you that Jamaica is in fact in a good place. But guess what? You don't even have to ask too many questions, you know. You can know a good government by their intentions. Can you imagine a government who understands, firstly, we are in a zone for earthquakes and storms, because we're right now the Caribbean basin. So it would make sense if we go insure the country. I never even know so them are sitting here possibly you can insure a country, my brother. Andrew Holness do it. And for that alone, I want him to stay there longer than Ralph Gonzalez stayed in St. Vincent. And that's the reality that for me, you know. But on a broader note, I like the fact that you have a genuine concern for Jamaica. And you know what? Here's my last few words to you, sir. Earlier in the conversation when I joined, you said that you listen to information from all angles. You hear from the propagandists, and now you end up over university. I would encourage you to save your brain cell them. It's when you see the PNP them pop up, there's nothing to learn over this, my brother. Guard your brain, guard your mind. Your mind is your soul. Guard your soul and everything you let in there. You have to protect your mind. And even if you're, since me I said don't listen to one side, you might think too that you shouldn't listen to the other side. So here what you do. Enough information is out there. Go do a deep dive on Jamaica. And it will be very clear to you, my friend. Jamaica of the past and the Jamaica of the last 9 years is a total different Jamaica. And no, Melissa, not going to stop with progress. We are going to rebuild. And thank you for your interest enough that you're going to travel to Jamaica in 2 weeks' time to help your community. Big up yourself, son of Brown.
Don't worry. You know what? I agree with you on that. And I will tell you one thing that's controversial, right? I like to read a lot about Manly, right? And I see a lot of Manlys in Andrew, despite the different political parties. And that's what I like about Andrew. There's some sort of democratic socialism in him. No, there's some sort of democratic socialism in
Andrew
that I like.
Well, that's scratchy. We can make a protecting land first, and also him land, and then we can.
Okay, Joshua.
The land is no, but because I went just a while ago, Josh. From the land is about. It's because I went just a while ago.
Take off.
Son of Brown. No, make me hear you fall out so quick.
but can I not admire the great thing that I see?
I understand.
In someone who, you know,
I understand what you're saying, you know, son of Brown. I really do understand.
Okay, fair enough.
I really do understand what you're saying. But you know what? Manly was not the dreamer, the conceptualizer, nor the initiator of democratic socialism. Okay? And Manly, since you say you read Manly and you continue to read Manly, you would know. Manly, as a bright lawyer he was, studied socialism and democracy and found a way to communicate the idea to the people. Manly was never effectively a leader that brought change to the people. But he knew how to use words and he knew how to speak to the hearts of the people. And that's what he got away with. Because when you study the Manly era, and the periods that Manley formed government, nothing was done. And might I hasten to save you from abusing yourself? Don't mention NHT. NHT was conceptualized by Edward Siaga and Hugh Shearer.
100% know that.
Okay.
Oh,
It
you
was
have to know that, son of
conceptualized.
Brown. Son of Brown. Oh, you
No,
have to know
but
that.
if him,
And most people don't
him
know
read,
that.
man. Him read. A lot of people don't know.
But
Manley
I am
it,
shocked that he even knows. Because a
Manley
lot of
gave
Hebraites
it,
don't know that.
Manley gave it the name NHT, but it came out of the Ministry of Housing. Edward Siaga was the minister, and Hugh Shearer was the big man in the party, and they were always planning to launch a housing trust program. Every documentation that was left there in 1972 when the JLP lost the election. And people need to understand, Michael Manley did not have time enough for in 18 months came up with such a brilliant idea as NHT. It was a JLP idea. And those who will hasten to mention Highway 2000. Highway 2000 was a Spanish Town bypass that was developed by Eddie Siaga and left at the UDC without a toll.
I'm sure the dean is looking on now and say, I never know
Without
that.
a toll.
Right, dean neighbor?
Without a toll. But
No,
DJ
man,
Patrick
no,
go
man.
brush it off, find him friend them from France, Boyd, and offer them get them rich, just like everybody where PJ can in a country if you come get rich, who did file bankruptcy elsewhere, and give them a plan to get them rich, and then built this Spanish Town bypass, Siaga's plan, and call it Highway 2000. And don't tell me about the Alpha Tree Transport Center. Those of you who will try to come at me, the wrong person will not come at. Because a transport
An Emancipation Park.
An Emancipation Park. A transport center plan was left at the UDC for every parish in Jamaica by Edward Siaga. Every parish. And because we no vote out Eddie Siaga, all these things were not
The
done.
Prime Minister today shot back at
Were not done. So again, my friend, I don't have an issue with you reading Manley because Manley is an interesting read.
Just an addition, protecting Jay. Just an
Yes,
addition. The plans that were left by Siaga was a comprehensive development plan
for the entire Jamaica.
For the entire Jamaica.
Thank you. Every community across Jamaica. One part of that plan was that every community must be able to sustain you
itself
from the womb to the tomb.
Yep.
That means clinic, nursing home, cemetery, high school, BS
everything.
School.
Police station, netball court.
The netball court, everything. And
Everything.
the model
Tivoli.
was Tivoli Gardens.
Okay, everything there,
has
Tivoli.
it all, everything. It's one clinics, it's one high school, it's primary school. If the cemetery is there from the womb
Everything.
to the tomb. You see, most of the things then that we're complaining that communities don't have today, under Siaga, every community would have had everything it needs
Chuck,
to sustain you.
Though that plan, that master plan for Jamaica is still at the UDC, you know, it's Andrew Bilafa. The problem is, because, and at the same problem the Jamaica Labour Party have now, they don't talk about the things they plan to do, and they don't talk about the things they have done, and they don't talk about the things they are doing. And so the PNP love talk, you know. If you, as you notice, every chance the PNP get them a talk about something or pay somebody to talk for them. And so people always believe that the one who is talking the most is the one who is doing the most. And they don't realize that Jamaica established a system under the JLP in the 1960s to sustain itself. But because Manley could talk the most, they vote in Manley and vote out the people them who does the most. It almost happened again on the 3rd of September. The people who are really doing the most, Andrew Holness, the PNP went on one of the biggest vote grab to get them out of power because they were talking the most. And the final thing, let me land again, can I land before? The 125,000 votes that were bought on September 3rd and the night before September 3rd did not get that group of people anywhere, even though they ended up with 402 or 3,000 votes. I want to see them do that again because the billions that they owe now and a run around a big $50 million figure pay some of it. I want to see which businessman or which friend of them going to put together that level of funding again and give them to come buy some more. And the idiots, 125,000 of them, who sold and almost threw us in the shit pit. I have news for you. You're going to live in this prosperity. Jamaica is going to have a V-shaped recovery. The economy is going to bounce back. And you are going to have to live with your consciences. And if any of you lost your house, your homes, or your foul cub, Andrew is going to build it back and heap fire of coal on your heads. Melande so.
Well, great. Let me pivot away a little bit. Joshua?
Yes, sir.
Joshua, what I'm hearing from the panel tonight is that wholeness is that there is great admiration for wholeness. If that is so, Joshua, why is wholeness having to go into Westmoreland today and in broken language talk about him not afraid of no man? Do you think the Prime Minister should be taking this step?
Well, I haven't heard the context, but I think there comes a time sometime to debunk. I think the PNP, the JLP's weaknesses over the years has been.
Let me play it for you.
Okay.
Do I have it? No. Do I have, no, okay. Go ahead, Joshua. Let me see if I can find it for you.
Right. So the JLP's weakness over the years has been its silence. It has been one of its greatest weapons, but it has also been its silence. Because one of the things that the PNP does is when the JLP remains silent is to build upon the first lie and double down on the original lie, right? And so because of that, then because there's no pushback on the part of the JLP against these lies, after a while the lie now becomes true in the minds of people.
I think this is it. Hold on, Joshua.
The Prime Minister today shot back at what he says is the daily barrage of accusations from various quarters that the government is motivated by partisan considerations as it works to provide assistance to the people worst affected by Hurricane Melissa. The opposition PNP claims the relief effort, particularly in western parishes, is slow, inadequate, and influenced by political motive. They also allege that aid distribution is being directed by government ministers and political operatives instead of elected opposition representatives. The Prime Minister is declaring war on what he has framed as the coordinated dissemination of lies.
It is not just managing the disaster, it is managing the false information. And we have to go to war with that. Too much false information, distracting the people when we need to have a positive mindset for recovery. And it is one thing that you will see about me. Me not afraid of nobody. All who want to make me one. Me we go with you toe to toe. Every nonsense you talk, I will respond to it. And as you would have seen with the government, man come out with foolishness, we respond, not go so. And as many memes as they can make, I can make it too. So it's going to be war because we cannot allow people who peddle nonsense, the people who tell lies. We cannot allow them to win. So we will.
Joshua?
Yes, sir. So, all right.
I want you to do two things for me, Joshua.
Yes,
first, address the correctness or the incorrectness of the PNP's concerns, misinformation. At what level do you think it has reached? And do you think the Prime Minister is responding appropriately?
I think it is subjective in terms of that one line. I'm not afraid of nobody, right? That one line alone is subjective. It's subjected to as to whether or not he should have used that line. However, the overall intent.
Are you saying that you don't agree with that? You would have preferred him not.
Well, I would not have gone there. However, I think he's only human, and he has allowed 9 years, well, basically 8 years of this kind of rhetoric to slide. And I think it's time for it to be addressed and attacked. You know, we have been on the defensive for far too long as a nation, to the extent, I mean, I'm on record in saying that what is happening is not just an attack against the Prime Minister, but an attack against the nation, and therefore putting the nation in a bad light. And the Prime Minister's silence, I've even heard even his own arch enemies to say, if he's innocent, why is he so silent then? Because if he wasn't guilty, he wouldn't have been silent. So I think it's full time that the pushback begins, right?
By the Prime Minister himself, Joshua?
I think in some instances it's necessary. Take, for instance, in Parliament on Tuesday, the opposition person on social development, Angela Brownberg, was very blatant in a lie. And she expected to trap the Prime Minister without a response. The Prime Minister, though not as forceful as he was today, dealt with it forthright, you know, because, and I knew that this was coming, not necessarily from the Prime Minister, but in terms of the strategy by the PNP. On the day of following the election, I said to a panel that our work has just begun because the PNP, having lost, is going to come out worse than they were before. I said that the night after the election. In addition to that, I'm also on record in saying, when I saw the PNP's press conference with Mark Golding the week before Hurricane Melissa, speaking about inequitable distribution of resources, that they would be coming with that line of argument continually if the hurricane comes. And we realize that they keep building on it, and no amount of reasoning and appeasement and text between Prime Minister and opposition leader is appeasing them. So whilst I personally probably would not have used that line, I support the Prime Minister himself. Now, not just leaving it up to the ministers, but I believe that it should be right across the board. Every time there's a press conference, every time there's an interview, to deal with it. We saw Dion Jackson Miller, a senior journalist, repeating verbatim the lines of the General Secretary of the People's National Party, which means that they have engaged journalists to do their bidding.
Yes. No, Joshua. What is the Prime Minister's message to are you a supporter of the Prime Minister, Joshua?
I am a supporter of him, yes.
Okay. So what is the Prime Minister's message to you? What do you interpret him to be saying now? To persons like yourself and other bloggers or vloggers or whatever you call them. What is the Prime Minister communicating to his supporters?
Do not allow this to continue. That's the shortest answer. So in other words, the misinformation, the propaganda, the lies that have been out there, do not allow it to continue. And for those of you who have started the journey, do not be discouraged, because I'm here with you hand and foot in the fight. Because oftentimes we ourselves have called out to the Prime Minister. I remember about a week and a half ago, we were on your show speaking about the need for the party itself to get engaged in the fight too. And the Prime Minister has come out and say, hey, I am now going to lead from the front.
So when he says war, it's a war against misinformation.
It's a war against misinformation, not a physical war.
So yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But what is the strategy? What is the strategy to fight this war?
The strategy is, as soon as they put the information out there, we're going after it. The misinformation.
You are going to do that, Joshua?
I'm on record saying many times on many other shows that if I'm the only man left standing, I will continue the fight. So I will definitely be there because this is not just for me, this is for Jamaica.
Yeah. Okay. Joshua, to what extent do you think that the party is seized of this, the urgency of this matter, and are willing to go to war against misinformation? Because doesn't it not need a coordinated strategy, Joshua?
It does. In fact, I had a meeting.
For example, I heard senior journalist Cliff Hughes suggesting that the PNP's propaganda machine on social media may very well be funded.
Not may. It is funded. Let me give you a statement that was made by Peter Bunting when he was trying to lead the PNP. Shortly after Peter Phillips lost, and he challenged Peter Phillips, he said that the reason the PNP lost is that the JLP has engaged social media, right? And that is why the JLP won the election. And they are going to invest, he used the word invest, heavily in social media. And then that's the time we started seeing a host of people coming out. We also noticed right after this election, the last election in September, less than 100 days ago, which is usually the timeline that an administration is used, a measuring rod for the new administration. Immediately after, we noticed a lot more persons joining the fray, right?
Joining which fray?
The PNP is bandwagon.
Hold on there, Joshua. Let me play this for you. Time is going, but it's very important to put the context on. Hold on.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness last night at Gordon House in the Parliament on his feet, responding. And you know, I tell you, I am very concerned about a disease that is taking root in our politics. It's a disease that is being normalized in certain democracies. The democracy to the north of us, our friends in America. The Trump disease, the lying, the normalization of lying. And I've spoken about it here. And in that, what you saw in the Parliament yesterday is an evolution. So those kinds of lies that are peddled, especially on social media, we see the opposition now legitimizing it in the Parliament. And it is something that poses an insidious threat to our democracy. Where we lie. And if you don't tell a blatant one, you tell a half-truth. And you push it out there. And you pay people to repeat it. And if they repeat it often enough, enough people will begin to believe it. It is an insidious and dangerous threat to the democracy.
Joshua.
Yes, sir.
I asked my listeners, my other guests, to just give me a moment with you. You have privately discussed fascism with me.
Yes, sir.
And I have gone ahead and looked at it. There is some amount of fascism here, you know, Joshua.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
When you peddle misinformation, you know, and you do it deliberately, it smacks fascism, you know, Joshua. Is there not a need for civil society, the church, and other Jamaicans to be involved in this? And is this not what the Prime Minister is probably angry about and is asking for help in correcting?
Definitely, sir. In fact, I would dare to say to you that civil society is no longer civil.
They are not
Right?
civil.
No, sir. They're not civil towards the JLP. In fact, one member of the PNP, Alone Ndambia Samba, stated publicly that they have formed committees and they call it civil society, but they have packed it with PNP members because they have an agenda. Publicly stated that.
Yeah, but she said that many years ago. She said that many years ago. Do you think that that still applies to the current crop?
The PNP has never ceased.
No more than ever. No more than ever, neighbor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
The PNP started this thing from the days of DK Duncan.
No.
When they had the Ministry of Mobilization, right? And they peddled a lot of propaganda, and they have gotten better and better with it over the years. During PJ Patterson's era, there was a little less of it. During Portia Simpson Miller era, there was a little less of it. Under Mark Golding, it has taken on a new life. It has gotten to a point that it has never reached before. And I believe that the society is in danger.
Deliberate peddling of misinformation.
Deliberate peddling of lies. That the misinformation is the political term for it. But it's lies. Natalie, Jamaica Politics Uncovered, has been speaking of it because she was a PNP for many years. She was a part of the party, paid up members very close to the party for many years. And she warned against it. And in fact, she called names of high-ranking member within the PNP now who set up a machinery within the PNP just for that. That person is sitting on the PAAC right now who set up that kind of machinery. And she warned Jamaica against it.
What I'm aghast at, Joshua, is that this is not organic. This is not individuals loving their party and coming out to just, support their party through these various means. That the PNP would be behind this to the point where they pay them. That could not be true, Joshua.
It is very true. In fact, years ago, I'm going to give you two information in one. Years ago, approximately 3.5 years ago, I was speaking with a journalist from the largest media house in Jamaica, and he forwarded a WhatsApp message to me from the journalist group, because the journalists have a group that they chat in. And in that WhatsApp message, it stated that leading up to the next election, the one that just went by, they are going to go after the Jamaica Labour Party. He forwarded the WhatsApp message.
A journalist group?
A journalist group, and he screenshot it and forwarded the message to me. From the largest media house in Jamaica, of which Mark Golding's best friend is chairman. You let that sit in for a minute, sir. Right? Now, when the largest media group can begin to take sides, right? And no wonder they are opposed to the one media house in Jamaica that seeks to be balanced. Right?
You respect you respect Mr. Hughes, Joshua, as a senior journalist. You think that
because I think he tries his best to be balanced. We know his socialization, that he was a paid up, not just a paid up member, but he ran for seat within the PNP. Right? We know that.
Is Mr. Hughes, do you think Mr. Hughes is stretching this a bit when he speaks of paying people, though, Joshua? I can't see that. Really?
No, sir. They have not. Remember, I said to you that the gentleman, Peter Murcott Bunting, and I will call his name because I cannot be sued for the truth.
Yes.
Stated that the reason that the PNP lost, it's because the Jamaica Labour Party used social media to defeat them, and they are going to invest heavily in social media. Right?
Well, Joshua, me talk on something on that, because you see, it look like this really surprised neighbor. I just now wonder if neighbor really wanted to just ask a question again so that the people could hear. 2024, approaching the end of the year, when the PNP thought the election would be called, the PNP's main bloggers were up in arms. Now, I am one of those persons who get information from within the PNP, and that's why I say me have to just remain how I am.
Right, anonymous.
Anonymous, get information from within the PNP. And I was told that one blogger was owed 250,000. And when he called for his money and didn't receive it, he said that he would not utter another word until him get his money. And they started to communicate among themselves, the ones who are paid to do what they do. And it was quite a few of them who wasn't paid. And I did a full video about it and posted on YouTube. They are paid. They are paid to create the kind of chaotic war out there. Because remember, neighbor, the PNP cannot tell you the truth, If the PNP tell you the truth, you will not support the PNP,
Right.
Hold on there for me. Oh, I'm under a little bit of pressure. My moderator is saying that she needs 6 persons to send $20, or the program will have to be shut down. Guys, just do that for her, though, please. We're 2 hours into the time, and the people. 6 people, please. Can you send $20 to Caroline quickly?
Hey, you guys have a Zelle number or something?
The Zelle number, the Zelle account. Look on the screen, son. It's 11:15, and Politics Plus staff is complaining. 6 people. Can you just throw $20 in up to me quickly, please? Let's get back to protecting non-Joshua. This is riveting. I can't end it now. (954-635-8732). That's the Zelle account. 954-635-8732. We need an entire program on this. We need an entire program on this, yeah?
Neighbor, I don't think you realize you assemble the Avengers for Jamaica, It's just Foreman and Casey missing.
I've assembled what?
You've assembled Avengers for Jamaica.
Yeah, we need 5 persons to jump in with $20 though.
I think
I'm coming back to you guys. I'm coming back to you. Just hold on to me. I'm under instruction,
Yeah, man. Son of Brown was asking for the Zelle number, and it's still not on the screen yet.
Yeah, man. I think it was posted. 954-635-8732. So that's 4 more persons. Quickly, please. Let me go, no man. Let me go, please.
We should be good now.
Did you say we should be good, sir?
I think so.
You paid all of it?
I contribute my part.
$20 is what you need, eh? So your neighbor come begging you something. Don't say tomorrow. Do it now.